Welcome to the regular meeting of the Cape Coral City Council. Today is August 26, 2026. This meeting now comes to order. Please stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance by Councilmember Steinke.
Please bow your heads as we remember all those around the globe that have lost their lives recently fighting for the freedoms that we enjoy today. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather and discuss those matters that affect us here locally. We thank you for the opportunity to have a voice in that. We thank you for those that dedicate their time to understanding the issues, reaching out, to have questions answered that are necessary to make those decisions that are in the best interest of the most people that we can in this city. We pray for objectivity. We pray for sensitivity. We pray for the grace necessary to deal with those issues that are controversial and to deal with them respectfully and deal with each other with grace. Father, we thank you for the men and women locally and abroad that fight for the freedoms that we enjoy today. We ask that you would watch over them safely, give their families peace as they wait for their return, and we pray that you allow them to come home safely. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Gunter.
Here.
Council members Donnell.
Here.
Kaduke.
Here.
Kilrain.
Here.
Lastra.
Here.
Lehman. Here. Long.
Here.
Steinke.
Here.
All present.
Okay, item 5 is changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Councilmember Donnell, I see your light on.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to add a motion to reconsider ordinance number 2026 under unfinished business. It was one, just so council know, we had a conversation about the special magistrate and the hearing examiner.
All right, in order to add that for reconsideration, you'd need a second. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll for the reconsideration?
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman.
No.
Long.
No.
Steinke.
No.
Donnell.
Aye.
Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduke.
No.
4 ayes, 4 nays. Motion failed.
Okay, I will entertain a motion for the agenda as presented.
Motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduke.
Aye.
8 ayes. Motion carried.
Okay, item 6 is recognitions and achievements. 6A, we have a presentation for city employees for years of service. I'll be making my way down to the front. Today is my privilege to recognize and celebrate this particular employee as he retires after many years of dedicated service to the city of Cape Coral. During this time with Parks and Recreations Department, he served as a chemical specialist, providing valuable knowledge, expertise, and commitment to the important work that happens every day behind the scenes to maintain our facilities and serve our community. He has demonstrated professionalism, dedication, and a strong commitment to the city of Cape Coral. His years of service have contributed to the quality of our parks and recreations operations and ultimately to the quality of life enjoyed by many of our residents and visitors. Madam City Clerk, could you please read the name of the recipient along with the years of service? And as his name is called, Please come on down to get your award.
Dennis Velez, Parks and Recreation Department, 31 years of service.
Okay, let's move on to citizens input. Just a reminder, if you hadn't filled out a comment card, please, there's one up front. To my left, your right, you can fill out a card so the city clerk can call you up. Councilmember Donnell, I see your light on.
Yes, I just wanted for council's consideration. Last week during the meeting, our mayor pro tem did an excellent job. One of the things that we did do was violate our rules that specifically it talks about clapping. We've gotten some comments behind it. So for your consideration before we start tonight, I was wondering, would you have an appetite to suspend that portion of clapping for this meeting only until we can revisit that totality of that subject? Because we're either going to allow it or not. If we enforce our rules tonight, like we really should have, but I didn't call a point, then, we got to enforce our rules. So I just wanted to know, that's my thoughts, just suspended until we revisit that whole, since we did it last week. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Is that a motion? Sound like a motion to me.
Is that something that's motionable, Mr. City Attorney?
This is really you're really just moving away to force a portion of a suspension of your permanent rules. So it has to be done by majority. So I would recommend doing it by way of a motion.
I motion to suspend the clapping part of our ordinance just until we revisit it at a later date. That's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Laster?
Thank you, Mayor. So just to understand you better, Dr. D, what you're saying is that you want to make a motion to not have clapping. That's already in our rules, to not have clapping or to have
To
clapping.
suspend it so they can't, because we let them, we
Oh,
let
I
the
see.
public do it last.
So do we want to make a motion then to change the rules to add clapping today only?
Specifically suspend it.
Oh, suspend it.
Suspend it for this meeting until such time that we revisit it.
Okay.
Because the only options are to either suspend it or, suspend it, keep it in place, or get rid of it. So I just say suspend it so that we keep in line with our rules.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Kilrain?
Yeah, just so I understand it too, Councilman Darnell, I reviewed all of the commissioner meetings and in Charlotte, in Lee, and in Collier County, as well as all the municipal meetings, council meetings. All of those prevent clapping. Your resolution today or for consideration is to suspend that, allow clapping for this meeting until we can resolve it in the next meeting?
Yes, because last meeting, we allowed it. We allowed it last meeting. We broke our own rules last meeting.
Right.
So now it'd be really interesting if we now today start enforcing it. Because I know the next thing the mayor is going to do is read our rules, which he should. So now we've created a conundrum. So to get us away from that and not go off on a tangent, we just suspend it for now, revisit it, and make a decision on it, just the clapping portion.
The implication would be our next meeting, we'll just have a discussion on it, whether or not we should impose that rule.
Or sometime sooner, whatever your pleasure is. But just this meeting, I'm saying to suspend it. You either suspend it or we enforce it. That's where we are.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this wouldn't even be brought up had I gavelled in our last meeting. These are business meetings, and so I was errant in my neglect to allow the clapping that was allowed. Obviously, if you're doing 3 miles over the speed limit, the officer gives discretion once in a while. I felt like I gave limited discretion, and obviously it is a rule, and it should be imposed. I think the understanding that these are business meetings, they're not sporting events or anything else, and the rules state that the clapping is not allowed during the business portion of the meeting. Certainly when we have acknowledgements and recognitions, to applaud those that are deserving of that. I think that's the reason why the rule states that it's during the business part of the meeting that it's not allowed. So I would apologize for breaking policy and not gaveling the clapping that happened last week. But I think that it is an appropriate venue to conduct business like business should be conducted. And as Councilmember Kilrain said, it's the way it's done in all the other chambers across the other municipalities in the county. So that's just my input.
Councilmember Lehman?
Yeah, in view of what Councilmember Stanky just said, I don't think this needs to be revisited. I think we need to go back to, I think a motion needs to be made to go back to Robert's Rules of Order and follow what we've always done. It's a business meeting, no clapping, period. And if need be, I will make the motion to do so. Yes, but he's to discuss it further.
Please keep your comments to yourself.
I'll make a motion that we go back to the way the rules are supposed to be, and we follow what other municipalities do. And there'll be no clapping at a meeting other than, at an award presentation.
Councilmember Donnell?
We already have a motion and a second, but let's just put some real talk to what's going on up here, all right? The mayor wasn't here last meeting. We council, me as a senior member, allowed our rules to be broken. Now play this out, what happens when the mayor returns and we start enforcing it. Just play that out, real time. Do you understand what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, now that seat is not about the who, it's about the what. Now we've just put that seat right out there and it's going to happen as soon as I'm sitting here. So I'm trying to avoid a circus so we can conduct the meeting, move forward and deal with it. That's just how I see it. I could be wrong.
Right.
I'm
Well,
going
we
to
can
whatever
leave
you all
the-
want to do, but understand that we let it go last week and now we're asking that seat, which just happens to be the mayor, to gavel it, and it is going to happen as sure as I'm sitting here. And recess it, here we go. That's the purpose.
We can leave
That's
it
all I got.
with, I can rescind my motion and,
Well, your motion wasn't recognized because, first of all, we already have one motion on the floor
okay, well,
already.
let's leave it with the motion we had.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, real quickly for me, I know we've had this discussion before many times, so it's not like this is the first time this has come up. And in the past, we've always kept the rules in place that we had. For me, as basically the chair of the board, my responsibility is to follow the rules, whether I agree with them or I don't agree with them. Now, when clapping is concerned, I agree with them, only because we're here to conduct business. Can you go to the courthouse and clap? Can you go to other county or municipal governments and act that way? You cannot. So I think it's important that we make sure that we continue down the path that we've been. That's what my vote's going to be. But as always, and I've said this the last 9 years that I've been here, this body will make that decision, and whatever that decision is, and however that vote goes, I will abide by it because that's what my job is. And I've done that many times before. So we'll make this decision as a collective body. But me personally, I think that we're here for business purposes because we've already seen if you give an inch, they take a mile. So once you open this Pandora box, it will continue and continue down that road. So with that, Councilmember Long?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to play catch up here. I guess what I'm gathering is that most of the people here had selective amnesia last week about our rules, and now mayor's back and we're all acting like now we remember what the rules were. That's fine. I think that maybe the motion should be amended. The better way to phrase it rather than this temporary, that is, do we want to make another motion to remove that section from our rules, yes or no? We've already made that, we already had that decision 3-4 months ago, possibly. A couple of us up here voted to allow it. Some of us, the majority of us did not. That's fine, but we're in this weird place now where, last week we let it go. We shouldn't have. This week, maybe we're going to do a temporary one. We're going to talk about it later. Why don't we just be done with it? Do you want to change the rules to allow it or not? And then it's done. We don't have to come back again. Because to your exact point, the circus is back next week because we're talking about clapping again next week. Cameras are here next week because we're talking about clapping because we've postponed that decision. Make the motion. I would suggest to amend the motion to modify that. As an aside, we violate these council rules dang near every meeting in one form or another. There's a section in there with regard to the invocation. There's a requirement that it's non-sectarian. More often than not, that's violated. So do we want to pick which ones that we're going to adhere to strictly versus those that we knowingly or not miss every week? That's a whole nother discussion, but it just seems silly to me that now, I appreciate what you're doing, but yeah, I gotta call it like it is. So, all right, that's where I'm at. I would amend it. I would suggest you amend the motion to just definitively ask whether or not we want to remove that portion. But I'm only one vote. Thank you.
Councilmember Kadouk?
Thank you, Mayor. I think we all know where I stand. Last time we talked about this, I said let them clap. And since then, we have rearranged our agenda. That citizens' input is now in the beginning, and it's before business. So in that case, I would allow clapping.
Councilmember Donnell?
I hear you. I'm fine with it. I will withdraw my motion so you all can make that motion about that, because we have not had that discussion as a body. But if that's the ways we're going, I will withdraw my motion, and then someone else can make that motion.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Councilmember Kilrain?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest follow along with what the councilperson Long had said. I think let's settle it now. Let's get it up on the table. And I will make a motion to continue the rules as they now exist.
Lots of double negative.
Yeah. I don't think we need to make a motion to continue the rules the way they are.
The rules are effective
Mr. City Attorney?
The rules are effective as of right now. There's no reason to make a motion to.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
The rules are effective as they are right now. If you want to alter them, that's what I think Councilmember Long is referring to, because there is the provision that clapping isn't allowed. So if you want to either amend it to remove it, suspend it, this is the opportune time to do that. So the motion, if there was one to be made, based on what Councilmember Long stated, it would be a motion to amend the council rules, removing clapping as a prohibition during the meeting.
All right. Councilmember Kilrain, are you?
Yeah,
You don't?
well, my motion
All
is
right.
invalid, so.
No other lights on, so I'll give anybody an opportunity to make a motion or we'll move forward. Okay, see no motion made, we'll move forward with item 8 of the citizens' input. Just remember, citizens are given the opportunity to be heard concerning matters scheduled on the council agenda and any other pertinent to the city's business. In order to promote an orderly system, hold a public business meeting, and to ensure that individuals are not embarrassed or harassed as a result of their exercise of right of free speech, the city has established rules that must be followed. The speaker is required to maintain proper decorum at all times. Only the person recognized by the mayor shall be addressing the city council or making any audible remarks during the business portion of the meeting. Unauthorized remarks, stomping of feet, whistling, or similar demonstrations shall not be permitted during the business meeting. No person is permitted to interrupt the city council proceedings or the comments of any person recognized by the mayor in any manner. No person is permitted to behave in a disorderly manner by shouting, yelling, whistling, chanting, singing, dancing, clapping, foot stomping, cheering, jeering, or engaging in any other disruptive display during the city council meeting. No person is permitted to refuse to follow the instructions or to comply to the policies that have been adopted by resolution and approved by the city council. Any person who engages in this type of behavior that is prohibited herein and is being boisterous or disruptive in any manner in their conduct during the city council meeting shall be asked to leave or may be escorted from the room. With that being said, Madam City Clerk, we'll turn it over to you to call the first speaker.
Lou Navarra and David Scott.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, Lou Navarra, Vintage, Cape Coral resident. Entertainment for today's meeting, looking ahead for City Council. Incidentally, Mayor, in the words of President Nixon, you're only defeated when you quit, so good to see you back for the time being. Flock cameras, let's limit them. They're a violation of the First Amendment. I talked to Chief Sizemore by text. He's a great guy, but I think he's going to be a politician when he wrote me his answer. Look for him to run for 2030 mayor. I'm serious. I can't show you what he said, but I think they need to be limited. I want to see the future of the council addressing this. Remember, the Nazis and the fascists said that the ends justify the means. This is America. Code enforcement. I like the mayor's new proposals. Let's get rid of these unlicensed people. I'm still in a loss, small claims with from Hurricane Ian. So I like that. I want you to continue investigating that. And I did call for a review of code enforcement under the direction of Mr. Hoagland and Ms. Rahl. I met with the mayor about all that. I don't think he needs to micromanage me and other citizens. The flag, wonderful. Continue with the new home for the 55-foot veteran spy. That was good. Restore voluntary councils. The magnificent 4 of the members we elected in 2024, they went to stakeholders. Steaks are for corporations and eating dinner. Tom the Shadrach, he wouldn't be running for District 1 if you hadn't kicked him off the voluntary councils. So, you know, where is Tom? Go Tom. All right, so moving quickly along, restore 8A of the agenda. That's for the future too. Petitions to council. It was illegally removed. The charter stands for it. Review and restore old language so we don't get kicked out so easily. Move the meetings back to 5 p.m. I think the one council member wanted them at 9 p.m. She's in a fog, you know? Preview of the coming attractions. Totsi, take out the trash. They say 2 members are targeted to resign. I say make it 3. And leave the 4th one over there. She's okay. But I'll put them out. We can't say names, but it's my fearless warrior over there. It's my nice lady over here. And it's my honest man over there. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
David Scott.
Good afternoon. My name's David Scott. I live in the Northwest Cape, and we had quite a historic election. And there was a bunch of things that came up in all of this they're very troubling, actually. So let's get into it. I've only got 2 minutes and 44 seconds left. I got started with all this over all the controversy with the rowers, and we heard there was 1,400 against 40. Then we started in with public records request, and we were told that it was going to take about $6,500 to get the information that we wanted. We refined those queries, and we got the information that we wanted for pennies. The same thing's going on right now with the traffic study that was done on the Seven Islands project. It's completely bogus. It cost about $6,500. We got an engineer contracted up in Tampa right now, and he's working on it. It's as bad as the valuation report that I've talked about to many of you. The valuation report is a joke. We gave this property away. This property was at least a $50 million property back in 2021. You gave it away for 20. And this developer apparently needed 15 million from somebody here to help him get the sales price, which is pretty weird. How undercapitalized are these people? Now, we've had a former mayor, when all the public fighting started with the current mayor and the former mayor. Former mayor is a good friend of mine, and he's a very accomplished, well-educated attorney. He said people are asking him if our current mayor is a crook. And he says, no, I don't think so, but he just makes so many bad decisions that people think that. Well, I started with the valuation report. That's bogus. So you were stupid there. The traffic report, that's bogus. You were stupid there. The RFP, the whole charrette nonsense with the Northwest Neighborhood Association trying to represent something. The D1 plan destroyed the value of that property. Then we claim that we had a very complicated RFP process. So that was flawed as well. Now we've got past council members here saying that there was a relationship between the present mayor back when he was a District 1 council member and Forrest. So I told many of you you needed outside counsel. You can't count on this guy. I don't know where we dug him up, but talk about somebody on thin ice. But you need outside counsel, and we need an investigation. How did we get somebody like Forest Development in here, the subject of RICO complaints? They have $14 million in liens and lawsuits against them, and not one of you did the due diligence to call the city manager over in Lake Park and talk to them about the person or this entity that you've invited into.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it.
Wes, Owen, and Joanne Dene Uris. Wes, Owen?
Yep.
Thank you.
Mayor Council, Wes Owen. The question before us today is whether this council will be proactive or sit idly by while the police department expands a citywide surveillance system without meaningful transparency, public debate, or accountability. ALPRs can help solve crimes, find missing people, and improve officer safety. That is not the issue. The issue is how Cape Coral's system was implemented, who authorized it, and what safeguards govern it. In August 2024, council approved a speed zone detection contract that included ALPR technology, not an expressly authorized citywide surveillance network. CCPD later said it deployed the broader system in 2025 and authorized the deployment itself. When Councilwoman Kaduk asked whether additional flock cameras were being installed, the police chief answered that they were not flock cameras. But the substance of her question was clear. This was not transparency, it was obfuscation. Last week, a former Sarasota officer was charged after allegedly searching the same plate 355 times, including 121 times in a single day. Those searches were not uncovered by the department's internal controls, but by a USA Today reporter. Cape Coral Police has pointed to internal safeguards as adequate controls. Sarasota shows why they are not enough. If 355 searches of one plate can occur without internal controls, exposing the pattern, independent oversight is not theoretical. It is necessary. Cape Coral should immediately shut down its citywide ALPR system until clear safeguards are publicly adopted. Independent council oversight, automatic review of unusual searches, court approval for historical tracking except true emergencies, public reporting, strict data sharing rules, and council approval before expansion. Cape Coral can use this technology, but only under rules that are publicly adopted, independently reviewed, transparent, and enforceable. Acting now is not anti-police. It is how we protect both public safety and liberty. And once again, I find myself saying, do your jobs and let us clap. Thank you.
No clapping, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I'm here to talk about solid waste and stormwater and your $35 million proposed deficit that you're facing if the property tax goes through in October or November on the ballot. It needs 60%. So, as you know, the governor is trying to cut the fat, period. Bottom line, worked for a county government for 35 years. They're facing the same issues. Spoke to county commission as well. As far as solid waste, ridiculous. Should have never renewed Waste Pro's contract back then, and we're still having issues. They want me to tie branches in a bow. It's 3 feet. I can't tie that stuff up. Take it. You got a claw, come and get it. Be done with it. Stormwater, since they put the UEP in North 1, we have stormwater drains now. The street is flooding worse than it used to. I don't understand that, so that needs to be addressed. I know whoever paid for their UEP will get some kind of money back. Well, we'll see. The taxes have gone up because they added that to the ad valorem taxes. So anybody's tax that was $2,000 are now paying $8,000. That's like living up north. So, you know, the taxes are getting out of hand. It's just too much waste. The Board of County Commissioners has what, 4 commissioners? 5 commissioners? How many we got here? 8? You guys can't even make a decision on whether to clap or not? That's ridiculous. I propose that we don't need 8 people on the board here. It's, why? 4 and 4, nothing passed. Sounds a little meh to me. So, you know, if you get 4 that agree, 4 that don't agree, so then it null and void, doesn't pass. Anyway, but your 35 million deficit, they're cutting the fat. Don't put the taxes on us. Thank you for your time. Oh, I still have time, I'm sorry. 35 million that you're looking at a deficit, you need to look at your budget. County put a flat budget out, certain departments. If this does pass, yeah, public safety may be hit, fire, I don't know. You know, we'll have to see what happens. But, you know, I'm for police protection. We got too many immigrants here. ICE is busting people all over the place. It's been on the news. Get rid of them. You're not a tax-paying citizen. You don't live in America. Get the hell out. That's how I feel. You want to become a citizen? Do it legally. My ancestors came over. They came over legally. Went through Ellis Island. Duh. So all I can say is you need to look at your budgets. I don't agree having 8 people on the panel here. That's a waste. County Commission, they do a better job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tim, Dolly, and Gary Eldred.
Good afternoon, Mayor Gunter and members of the council. My name is Tim Daly. I'm a Cape Coral resident and I live in the Northwest Cape as well. I'm here today because I'm concerned about whether the level of Marine Patrol coverage in Cape Coral is adequate for a city whose identity, lifestyle, property values, and public safety are so closely tied to the water. We call ourselves the Venice of America. We have more than 400 miles of navigable canals, 150 miles of salt water, and 250 miles of fresh water. It's an extraordinary amount of water for one city to patrol. Recently in our backyard, I've witnessed jet skis traveling at over 50 to 60 miles an hour, in my estimation, through no-wake zones on the Spreader Canal. That raises a larger question for me. When something dangerous is happening on our waterways, do we have enough dedicated Marine Patrol resources to respond while it's actually happening? My understanding is that the Cape Coral Police Department has a Marine unit. What I don't, and I'm not able to determine, is how many sworn officers are assigned to it, how many patrol boats are operational, how many units are normally staffed on the water, and what hours are these areas regularly patrolled. I think we residents of Cape Coral deserve to know. It's not simply about wake violations, it's about reckless boating, it's about speeding, wildlife protection, boating under the influence, accident search and rescue, and protection of our waterfront properties, and having a visible law enforcement presence that deters dangerous behavior before somebody gets hurt. Importantly, the police department's own 2026 through 2030 strategic plan identifies expanding the Marine Patrol boating safety enforcement as an objective. So I'm asking the city to create a new priority. I'm not asking the city to create a new priority. I'm asking the council to make sure that we are adequately supporting a priority we've already asked for. I respectfully ask the council to have the city manager and police chief provide a report on Marine Patrol staffing, operational vessels, patrol hours, calls for service, response times, and how coverage is divided between our freshwater and saltwater canal systems. If the current resources are not sufficient, I would ask council to be presented with options and costs for expanding that coverage. For a city with over 400 miles of canals, I believe a strong and visible Marine Patrol presence should be a fundamental part of our public safety. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. As you know, I've been coming to these meetings quite regularly for the last X years. First of all, it was Mayor Sawicki. When I was president of the New Residents Club, she spoke in front of there. So you've seen me a lot here. I've attended a lot of meetings. Finally, the citizens of Cape Coral are speaking up, and I applaud them. So my topics are nothing personal, and hopefully they'll be professional. One of the candidates running for mayor indicated that he's going to try to bring back bike night. I'm very familiar with it. I met with Mr. Steinke. I met with the police chief, Parks and Recreation director, along with other bike night groups. And I saw an interesting video that they presented. It's quite alarming as some of the things that do go on during bike night. I can probably assure you, and Mr. Steinke can speak at this, that bike night will not be on 47th. Second of all, I noticed that any questions that is asked by the city council by some of the city employees come back as a condescending comments. Why are you asking me this? So I would, and I know I addressed this with the mayor, or not the mayor, the city manager, and they are quite responsive to try to not have a condescending attitude and being challenged by some of the remarks that are asked by the city council. Lastly, and I hate to even bring this up, in light of last week's council meeting to discuss the rowing club, it is quite evident that District 2 councilperson was way over her head regarding the decisions that affect many residents in Cape Coral. When the rowing club students outshine and embarrass a city council member with facts, change is needed. Poor decisions and not knowing the basic understanding of procedures, budgets, means this person should resign to better serve District 2 and the residents of Cape Coral. Lastly, Mr. Long made a comment I saw
Sir, if you could just,
Oh, yeah.
Address us.
City council person made a comment regarding 3 fishermen's and the amount of money that we spent in litigation. I think it's over $2 million, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope when we go forward, some of those litigations that we're going to have, take those into consideration. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Tom Shadrack and Lynn Reddy.
Good evening, Tom Shadrack. Just one, you only have one consent item, so I thought I'd kind of address some questions towards it. No complaints or anything, just questions. This is about the solid waste collection for commercial applications. I asked when we were doing the RFP for Waste Pro, which is under, right now under the code of silence, I guess, on what we're deciding there. I asked that let's throw the commercial into the big picture for revenue consideration and to make sure we can spread the overhead over the commercial aspect as well. That wasn't included, so here we are just talking about rates. This is a direct pass-through that Waste Pro bills directly to our commercial entities. And we talk about we need more commercial revenue in Cape Coral, 92% residential, but here we're not recognizing this revenue as a source of funding for overhead. I mean, when we talk about solid waste for residents, you'll see overhead as a big expense to residents. That doesn't get any allocation to this commercial cost. And I don't know what the franchise fees, if there's any associated with the commercial aspect. These are questions, right? Because we know trash trucks probably create the most damage to our streets than any other vehicle. So does this money get included in the franchise fee value that they do pay to us? These are just questions. I don't know, because it's really kind of outside our revenue stream, because it's just amount that's increased. And a lot of people are discussing, is this how Waste Pro gets well? Because we know we get a pretty good deal because it's a fixed price contract. But do they get well because of these commercial rates? We don't know. I don't know what kind of revenue this adds up to that Waste Pro is receiving from these commercial contracts. It could be part of the revenue that offsets our overhead. We have 6 people that oversee Waste Pro from a residential cost. None of that gets allocated or we receive back from the commercial world. So do we want more commercial value in our city? This seems to be the opposite. The residents are funding the commercial side of waste collection. That's what it looks like. I could be wrong, but these are kind of questions I would ask and expect you guys to know and understand. Thank you for that, and we'll talk later at the hearings. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lynn Reddy. I live in 2237 Southwest 15th Avenue, Cape Coral. I received a letter from the city regarding utility assessment.
Could you, a little closer.
I received a letter from the city regarding a utility assessment from the previous owners at hardship deferment. And I thought all of that was dealt with last year, and now I have another one to appear here for the same thing. And I have the information here showing that it's been paid.
If you have questions, we can have a staff member try to help you.
Yes, I have questions.
Okay. Just go ahead and have a seat and somebody will get with you.
Okay, perfect.
Lisette Fiallo and Marie Kavanaugh.
Good afternoon to everybody, and special residents. I'm Lisette Fiallo. I'm here many times. Yesterday, I have meeting with Miss Lastra. Miss Lastra, thank you so much for listening to me, because my problem, many problems with this city, it is over a year. Yesterday, meet with you, only clarify, because meeting before, you say to me in front of the resident, like I try to avoid taxes. I don't avoid taxes. My application and my fence, the cost was $500. So I paid taxes about $500 because my family helped me do everything with my husband. Now my fence has to take it out and put new fence because the mistake was building department. They signed it and they stamp the permit, and now they send to me that we have to remove the fence. That one. Okay, I agree with you. Thank you so much, because after February 2025, I tried to contact, Richard Miller, Todd Hoagland, Rachel Cadu, Michael, Love, Michael, Gunter. Nobody tried to meet with me to listen to me. But after 1 year, you finally listen to me. Now, my family and me is no harassment, is no stalking me and my family. No, this is persecution with my family. This is harassment. This is discrimination. I claim equal rights. I claim my freedom because I'm living in America. Okay? Now, my daughter, received this letter. My daughter never renting your house in the Airbnb. And this is not fair. This, for me, is dictator government. For my opinion, it's dictator government because I'm living in freedom. This is persecution because my daughter's house never renting Airbnb platform. You don't know why they send this letter? Because it's under Fialo last name. This is persecution. I remember one day when Mr. Mike say, I talk to you now, in front of the people, I don't answer any email from the resident. He did that in this public meeting one time because I remember, I don't lie. I say true. God is with me because I am clear person, transparent person. He said that here. I don't answer anything.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Marie Kavanaugh, Vice Chair of Take Out the Trash Committee of Cape Coral. First, I want to talk about Bimini East. And there's some questions that really need to be answered, and nobody's answering. You give them up here, you ask questions, nobody bothers to answer them. They just ignore it and hope we go away. Well, I got questions. We did a little investigation into the proposal that Crown Development brought forth. And according to that, and Charles Crane agrees with me on this, the city is going to put in a minimum of $60 million out of the $500 million they're claiming is going to go. And that's only a portion of it. There's more that haven't been determined yet, what the costs are, because staff never supplied it. We're going to do all the lighting fixtures on Coronado and Cape Coral Parkway. We're going to do some development on Miramar and Coronado, and there's no prices there. Before we're done, I imagine we're going to be probably footing at least $100 million. Well, on to JC Park. Wow, $18 million later, half the park is not usable. We were promised a bistro that was going to bring in $500 million a year. Well, right now we got 3 food trucks coming on the weekends at $375 because they're $125 a weekend each. And over the course of the year, that's $17,000. We put $18 million. We are owed an explanation as to why that park is in the horrible situation it's in. There was obviously a design flaw. The whole center section there is all soggy. It's like a swamp. If my front lawn looked like that, I would have code compliance tickets up to my roof and thousands of dollars. And as far as this little dissertation this morning about whether we can clap or not, if you look at your agenda, we're not in the business meeting yet. Citizens input is above that, and I'm sure staff is going to scurry off and move it down under business, the citizens input. But last week was a great meeting. We didn't have gavel guy here smashing us down at, anytime anybody clapped, anybody said anything. It was wonderful. Even the council looked more relaxed. Everybody here looked relaxed. And a good time was had by all. So I've come to the conclusion it's his fault, and that's why he lost his election by 85%.
Kyle Mahamadou and Ken Jans.
Good evening, Kyle Amadou, Chair of Take Out the Trash. Boy, there has been a smell of fear in this room recently, and I love that smell. It's coming from up there. I don't know why the city is so fearful of the citizens controlling their own government, but that's a question you guys should ask yourself. So now to the mayor. You have two options, in my opinion, of how you take your last 2 months.
Ask him when he gets a chance to listen.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'll do that with my ears, not my eyes.
Okay. That's what Judge Judy says, listen with your ears. So I think you could do one thing. You could apologize to the citizens tonight. You could resign, and then you could walk out. Or you could be a mayor for the people that you always should have been. You get to decide how your last 2 months go. Now, we're going to talk about Council Member District 2 and Council Member District, what are you, 5? I think 5. So, you already know where I'm going. So, I pledge to not accept any stipend for my full term and lead in its repeal. Restore resident subject manager experts to key committees. Champion the voice of the people in all programs, including budgeting, Parks and Rec, JC Park, and the Yacht Club. Be your full-time councilman at part-time pay. Now, are you sick and tired of corruption in our city? Wasteful spending by the mayor and city council. Voted themselves a stipend without a citizen's vote. Skyrocketing your taxes. Spending money the city doesn't have. The city becoming a concrete jungle. Disastrous park projects such as JC Park, which is now a perfect refugee, or do you want a bar, a band shell, and food trucks? The city wasted $2.5 million on Coviello Park. That is not handicap or senior accessible and cannot be navigated by strollers, bikes, or our pets. Each homeowner in the Northeast will be forced to pay for $35,000 for water and sewer. I was 38. I stand for transparency, honesty and integrity, strong character. Both of you have 2 years left, and you get to decide how those 2 years go. We saw somebody roll over very quickly last week and change their vote on certain things. But at the end of the day, you get to determine what you want your legacy in the city to be, and you guys have the chance to actually make it a decent one. Because right now, everybody I talk to is not happy with you, and they are not happy with you, the one who's probably falling asleep. Thank you.
Ken Jans and Ann Birchtold. Ann Birchtold.
Hey. Ann Birchtold, Take Out the Trash. I didn't really think I was going to be speaking tonight. I came down here thinking I was going to sit myself down and have a meeting. And Dr. D, you surprised me. Maybe it was the excitement or the relaxation of the pleasant council meeting last week. But you had something to say and it was wonderful. Let's revisit clapping. What a great idea. But unfortunately, right? But, the gavel's out. But unfortunately, nobody could come to what you were saying and understand what you were saying, which really hurts my heart. Last week's meeting was orderly and with decorum. And yes, there was clapping. We clapped, right? I think even the council people clapped. You all enjoyed yourself for once. You look like it was really a good time. And sometimes we're not going to have meetings that are a good time, but it was a great meeting. And I am sure all of you agree, if not openly, maybe just quietly, that last week's meeting proved that citizen participation was a valuable part of the meeting, right? Valuable. And as for the all-consuming compulsive obsession with the business aspect of a meeting, I just took a quick look at the agenda, and guess what? The agenda says that citizens' input is before business. Before, like somebody else said, I'm sure that'll change next week. It'll be changed. And as for the statement from one of the council members, that every other meeting, Sanibel, Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, wherever, every other meeting there is no clapping. I don't know where that person dreamt that up, but it's just another example of whimsical nonsense that comes before us. Whimsical nonsense from the bench. Dr. D, it was a great way to start the meeting. Thank you.
Please, no clapping.
Your Honor and City Council, I am in receipt of comment cards after last call was given and the box was collected. In your council rules on page 13, it says that the mayor shall provide a last call notice during the meeting, after which point no further public comment cards will be accepted by the city clerk. They were dropped off physically to me. I just wanted to let council know in case they want to.
How many do we have?
2.
2. I'll let them go. Yeah, I think 2's fine.
Okay. David Kalish and Lisa Cohen Atkinson.
Mayor, before they start, maybe take a vote on what we're doing here, because we are, again, our rules state that it has to be approval of council. And I know we are going to approve it.
Make a motion.
Let's just make it formal, so we don't get shot down with that. I would like to make a motion that, yes, we continue with citizens' input for the last 2 speakers.
Second.
See no other lights on. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carried.
What's that? Yeah. Okay, you guys know me, Dave Kalish. I used to come here a real lot before I got tired talking to a brick wall. I'm back. I'm glad. I'm back because I'm excited that the people in the city are finally waking up and realizing that we need change from where we are. Okay, that's a very big deal to me. I'm very happy about it. Hopefully we can move forward and keep staying with making the changes, and the people keep staying involved, because a lot of times, for all the years I've been here to a council meeting, I've watched most of the time, and you could count on your hand, if you watch, 4 at most, 5 of you actually will watch the person that's talking to you. 3 to 4 of you will be playing on your computer or eating your dinner or whatever the heck you're doing. Okay? No offense, I find that to be disrespectful, extremely, and rude. We don't do it to you. Why should you do it to us? Okay? We're here for you to pay attention. I know you don't care and you're not going to answer. You've proven that. For all the years I've been here, I've never seen you guys really give a crap about anything. That's a big deal. And that's why I'm really happy that the people in this city are waking up. And District 2, I'm a little very disappointed in what you did with the vote last week. But we need more change. That's just the beginning, you know? I'm not going to miss him. I can't say his name. Not that anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, you know? But I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm disgusted. I'm very disgusted. I moved to Cape Coral, and here's a good story. I moved to Cape Coral, and I had something going on that I needed to get permission for. I was brand new here. I didn't know anybody. So my bad that I didn't know how bad it was here, okay? So I went and talked to my council member, and I said that I needed a fence in my yard because I have a special needs daughter. I've been holding this in for 7 years. I never told anybody this, but the answer that I got, and this is on God, from God, this is the truth, okay, was, good luck with that, okay? So for me, what's going on now, what happened with the primary, is much more of a big deal for me than anybody else, because I turned around and I walked away, and I said, there is going to come a point that you're going to get yours, okay? And I'm very, 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 very happy and proud of the people in this city. But you guys got to pay attention and you got to give a crap. And I'm not saying that all of you don't, okay? So don't everybody take it personal. I don't mean it that way. But the ones that are like that know it, okay? Uh-oh, wait a minute. That's it. I'm done.
Good evening, Lisa Cohen Atkinson, Southwest Cape. It was a joyful place last week. There's no doubt about it. I could feel the joy in the room. It was a lighthearted place. It was a place that I smiled more than I've ever smiled in this room last week. So I'm looking forward to brighter days. There's no doubt about it. However, in the meantime, before a single dollar of property taxes, $515 for fire, $384 for taxes, or for trash, and after tonight, another $163 for stormwater, over $1,000 in flat fees, and they don't care what you earn. The water bill is in the third straight year of 11% increases, and the tax rate goes up this year, while page 51 of the budget still collects $7 million more in property taxes than last year. Families don't get a rollback rate. When their income drops, they cut. Now the city's page 29 of your own policy number 1 says structurally balanced means current revenues equal current expenditures. This year and the forecast year, page 46 shows 5.9 million gap this year, 9.8 million next year, 18 million the year after, all covered from the fund balance. Personal costs rise 10.9 million, 7%, while the reserve sits at the 10th of the month, short of your own policy. And page 63 forecast of the fire assessment collecting 83 million next year, up from 64 million this year. If that's right, families need to hear it now, not next July. When it came time to find cuts, all at the August 4th workshop, the options were an 80% fee increase on your youth sports, which you rightly rejected, and eliminated a vacant position in the internal auditor's office, the auditor. In a year that the top of the organizational chart got a raise. The city manager's pay went to $336,984 last September, about 18% above his 2023 starting salary. And at page 42 creates 2 new deputy director titles, which reclassification. Residents keep telling me that there are double-digit raises for directors in here. I can't find that line, and I won't repeat a number I can't source, so put it on the record before September 10th. The pay change for every director level position above, next to the market midpoint in the Baker Tilly study you paid for. 3 asks: reconcile policy 1 with page 46 in writing, publish executive and director pay by position before the first hearing, and before you ask a family for $1 more, show them the whole page. Thank you. And please reopen the RFP on Bimini East.
Is that the last person?
Yes,
All right.
sir.
I'll open up for any council discussion for citizens input. Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to everyone who spoke. I've just kind of made some notes, so I might be a little trappy on this. First, I wanted to address, ma'am, I did not get your name. You may have said it, but I didn't hear it, so I apologize. When you spoke about solid waste, we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about that. I plan to pull that from the consent agenda item so that we can clarify some of those points. And I know they're on our discussion for tonight, and I anticipate some of my team will be asking similar questions as well, so just sit tight. Mr. Daly, you spoke about the Marine unit from CCPD. And I know because I ask every year, that's one of my favorite ride-alongs to do. And I always see every time I do it that I always ask the question, we really need more. We do need more. We have 4 Marine unit officers currently and a working sergeant. However, each year you see our police budget, you see our need for boots on the ground. And this year, we're not increasing that number. The past 2 years have been about half the requests that police PD has made. And then, of course, response time for Marine depends on the issue. So if it's an emergent issue, it'll be faster. If it's not, then it won't be. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. So for example, if there's like a fire or a potential reckless driving, that's obviously something that goes to priority. If a resident complains that someone's speeding through a wake zone or it's too loud, that might fall below that priority. I can't say that for a fact, but I'm only speaking from experience when I've done these ride-alongs. And then, we also have to weigh out quality of life issues versus a Marine issue. So for example, if there's a shooting somewhere in the Cape and someone at the same time is called because someone's speeding in the wake zone, obviously the shooting would take precedence. So, keep watching, stay tuned. If you have any additional questions, I encourage you to reach out to myself or our police chief, and they can answer your questions more directly. Let's see, Mr. Eldred, since I moved here in 2008, we've always had, I moved here and would watch council meetings because I saw them a lot on the news. I think Mayor Sullivan was the mayor back then, and there was always a group of residents. So it's encouraging as an elected official to see residents coming forward and speaking and talking and asking questions. I think that's why we do our jobs up here, is because we do want to hear. I knock on a lot of doors, and I hear from residents all the time. What can I do? Should I serve you to make it better? Traffic still always the number one complaint, and then they're concerned for public safety. But each year it's been a new group, and I'm happy to see that tradition continue with our city. And then we do have bike night. We still have bike night. We did a presentation, I want to say at our last COW meeting, that talked about the cost to the city, 1.8 million for bike night and red, white, and blue. So we still have bike night currently right now. Will that change? I don't know. That depends on what our budget looks like next year, and where if it's a priority to the council. And then Mr. Shadrack, as I mentioned before, yes, we will be talking about solid waste, so stay tuned. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Kilrain.
Yeah, I'd like to first mention we had a couple of questions that were centered around technology and the execution of police service and using that technology. I'm going to reference a paper that was provided by Chief Sizemore. It's called Trust Before Technology. It's available on the website, or if it isn't, we'll get it up there. It's available through his department in any event. It's an excellent paper talking about the evolution of technology and how technology in a democracy is used to, first, technology serves policing, policing serves the law, and the law serves constitutional liberty. And it's with the Fourth Amendment really controls what's available and how that's used. And it's a knowledgeable document that really gets into the trust issue and being able to take the good points of technology. And we're talking flock cameras, we're talking about license plate readers, the way it's evolved over time. And it gets into the early things like fingerprinting and everything else. It's an excellent document. So people who are uncomfortable about how technology's moving in to the policing effort, it's been happening and been evolving for 100 years at least. And this really captures the thought process, how our Cape Coral police manage that process and do it in a manner that adds some real good consideration for the Fourth Amendment. I recommend it for everyone to take a look at. The second thing I want to address, I put my hand on the Bible when I took this job. And basically, it is funny, but it's the truth. And basically, I pledge that I would do things in the best interest of the residents of the city. I do my homework on every meeting. I do it, I evaluate things, and I'm going to continue to do that. And because I'm not meeting what you feel policy should be in specific groups of people, I'm sorry, but that's not the way I'm coming down on things. I'm looking at it and what my input has been from other sources, from the facts, and I make my decisions based on that. And if you don't like it, I don't intimidate. Well, you can do whatever you need to do. But the point being is I'm going to continue to operate that way. And that's about it. That's all I can say. I follow the facts. I follow what I think is reasonable. And I'll make the best decision I feel I can make in the interest of the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. Gary, I was going to speak about bike night as well. Thank you for acknowledging getting together with that. And the way you started out, it sounded like a new candidate was going to bring bike night back. Bike night hasn't left. It was talking about bringing it back to 47th and having the motorcycles on 47th rather than in the parking lot, in the Club Square parking lot. So it wasn't that bike night's been taken away. And what Gary was referring to was the inability for our public safety officials to provide the type of public safety that was necessary if it was left on 47th, based on, as he stated, some video observations that would have caused potentially caused our citizens harm. So it was all about having public safety, the changes, and so the thought of bringing it back to 47th was the issue, not us not having bike night anymore. So yeah, we still have bike night. As far as being on the computer, David, I use my computer to take notes. So I'm a hunt and pecker, and so I kind of have to look down at the keyboard while I take the notes, but we're given technology to use, and rather than using paper and pen and whatnot, during citizens input, I continue looking up and back to my computer to take notes. So that's what I'm using my computer for, is to pay attention and have notes to refer back to in the future. And last, as it relates to the flock cameras, I would just let you know that my thought on them was technology has continued to progress in every aspect of our lives. And as we know, when we go through the toll booths and it tells you if you don't have a transponder of some type that you're going to get a bill in the mail. Well, the way they know how to send the bill in the mail is because they take a picture of your license plate. And so there's cameras all over the place. I think when we go into Publix, we'll see the little round dome up there. It's taking your picture. It's taking videos. And just, in the last 12 months, I'd tell you personally, I came home to find someone had run their car up onto my personal property and caused quite a bit of destruction. 48 hours later, they found out who did it, and they had to make restitution. And that was because of flock cameras being able to say this car is what left this street on that day and left half of their side of their car on my lawn. So that's what they're there for. There's no one sitting there watching a video trying to see where you go and where you don't go. But certainly, any type of technology can be misused. And so the comments around making sure that we have the guardrails on that the information supplied to them is not being misused. I would absolutely agree that we need to make sure the guardrails are on there, but not that we would not necessarily use that type of technology. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Kadouk.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for spending the evening here with us and coming to speak. We do take notes, and I personally write them down, but I also look things up while people are speaking. So I wanted to address, we just did a whole charade before this whole thing started about our council rules and not allowing clapping. And in our council rules, it also says that speakers must address the council as an entire body rather than targeting or questioning individual members, and that was not stopped. So if we're going to follow the council rules, it needs to be to its entirety. Thank you.
Councilmember Lehman.
Yeah, to all of you, thank you for making your comments, but to all of you that seem to feel I need to resign, you have no idea what I do. I do my research, I check everything out before I make a decision. I follow through with emails constantly. And to be singled out the way you felt you could tonight, a little unfair. When you've walked a mile in my shoes, talk to me about it. Till then, don't. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to address with some points of information, comments about Bimini. And I'm going to use some examples of what's in our budget. I had a very good discussion with Mr. Charles Crane and Councilwoman Kadouk after he put out an analysis that was not accurate and kind of misdirected what I felt was a good portion of our population. And in fact, at the end of the meeting, he agreed that basically he made some assumptions that were wrong and then found out that it wasn't even his tax money that was going to it, and then came to a conclusion that maybe he shouldn't even care. But let me give you some examples of what the issue is when somebody says, oh, we're going to spend $100 million down in Bimini. In our budget for the CRA, which is meant to pay for redevelopment and funded by the business owners that are down there, we have projects in there such as CRA streetlight renovation. Now, I know there's a gentleman in the audience tonight who was constantly talking about the lights on Cape Coral Parkway and how they needed to be redone. The CRA paid for those. So those nice new beautiful lights that went down there. Now, under the assumption that because we're asking a developer who's going to be doing a project down there to do that work for us as part of their project, well, which project do you want me to assign all those CRA streetlights to? None. We did it ourselves. But when we have a developer down there who wants to redevelop an area of the CRA, we ask them to do things for us so that at the time that they're doing the development, we're not coming back and tearing up the streets, tearing up the lights, tearing up the stormwater. So to just take projects that we would otherwise have to do on ourselves and say, we're going to be spending those or giving those to them, it's not a fair assignment of a project cost to Bimini. So for example, we also have stormwater. The stormwater system down there is at end of life. I could go do it right now and waste the redevelopment agency's money because we'll replace all the pipes and then they'll go in there and tear them all up. Or I could tell the developer, while you're building this development, please fix our pipes while you're tearing up the roads to do the utility connections that you need to do. That's not an assignment of project cost to that development. That's us working with the private sector. That is what good government does. We identify the things that we need to do. We partner with the developer and we put in the development agreement for them to do it and us to pay it so it gets done at the time that all the work is being torn up. We've got trash compactors down in the CRA in the middle of Big John's parking lot. Or they're not compactors yet, they're just dumpsters. We have them in Club Square. When we do those, they're going to be completely for the business. They have nothing to do with city government. It's for the businesses in the CRA. When the CRA spends money to put in trash compactors to benefit them, whose business do you want me to go around saying, well, this is to benefit you? Nobody, because it's not an appropriate assignment of contract costs and what we're trying to do to redevelop the CRA. So when you look at the term sheet that we put out for Bimini, and you take all of the costs, the projects for the road projects, for the light projects, for the stormwater, and you try to say that that is the city giving that to the developer and we're spending $100 million, that's really inappropriate, because what we're getting is projects done that we need to have done by the developer who's going to work and partner with the CRA. And then lastly, there was a statement, I think honestly do think it was just an error. There has never been a projection of any concessionaire at JC Park bringing in 500 million. I think that was a Freudian slip. So, but what was always contemplated was for that to bring in revenue, and to that would offset some of the debt service costs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on from to the next item, which is the consent agenda, which is 10A. I'll open up the consent agenda. Apparently, there's only one item on here tonight, Resolution 220-26. Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pull this resolution 2026 because I want some clarification from our Director of Finance, Crystal, when we get to it. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, and since this is the only item, you go ahead, Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Crystal, for coming up. For the public's, the purpose of explaining this publicly, because there seems to be a lot of back and forth I'm seeing all over social media, and I just want you to clarify this out loud as to why, how this works in terms of why we're determining this, and then where the money comes from and goes to.
So this, we currently have a contract with Waste Pro to provide waste hauling services. At the beginning of that contract, there were fees established, but what was also built in was an annual CPI adjustment to those commercial rates. And so Section 9 of our city ordinance requires us to adopt those rates for each October 1. And so that's exactly what this resolution is doing. It's applying that contractual obligation of the CPI to the rate, and by resolution, we're adopting those rates. This is for commercial. The city does not bill or administer the billing for commercial properties, or the commercial billing. Waste Pro does that on their own. What's different is for the residential rates, which we'll go over later on the agenda. Once those are approved, the city, through the tax bill, does work with the tax collector to administer the billing for the residential rates. So the residential side of that contract is billed through the city by way of the tax bill. Commercial rates are different. That's handled directly by Waste Pro.
Waste Pro. Okay. So you're saying this, we've done this annually, I know. I just wanted to clarify it for the public's sake. So it's, let's say, no different. Someone brought up the water increase of 11%, which was approved by council in 2023. And I know it's a 3-year, 11% increase over 3 years. And to stop that, it's no different than this. To stop that, then we wouldn't be able to continue with planned projects that, let's say, or in Waste Pro's case, planned pickups or planned service, if you will, in the future if we just stopped it, correct?
Well, we don't receive any funding from these rates. It's
Right.
billed by Waste Pro. They collect the revenue. It's theirs.
Okay.
We're just contractually obligated to apply that CPI each year. So
Okay.
that's really our only involvement in
Okay.
the commercial side.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Kadouk.
Thank you, Mayor. We also had a speaker ask a specific question. Does this money get included in the franchise fee?
It does not.
Thank you.
Seeing no other lights on, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Mr. City Manager?
I just want, I think the question was asked wrong. I think you said, does this get included in the franchise fee? I think the question you wanted to ask is, does this generate a franchise fee?
Right. So the franchise fee is just a payment that we receive from Waste Pro. It could be a combination of whatever revenue they collect across their business. It's not directly correlated to, well, it is, but we don't receive, it's not a 1-for-1 directly from the rates. It's a separate calculation based off of those rates that are paid.
Okay, we have motion second on the floor. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lastra,
Aye.
Lehman, Long,
No.
Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell, Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk.
No.
6 ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on agenda is appointments to boards and committees. We do not have any. Item 10C is unfinished business. C1 is follow-up items for council, none listed. Follow-up items for city management, none listed. Item 11 is ordinances and resolutions. 11A, public hearing for quasi-judicial hearings. We have none tonight. 11B is legislative public hearings, first of which is Resolution 235-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 235-26, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Cape Coral, Florida, certifying the results of the primary election held on August 18th, 2026, providing certificate of official returns from the Lee County Supervisor of Elections, providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'll turn it over to staff.
It really is just a matter of a resolution of you approving it. It's perfunctory.
Okay. All right. I'll open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on Resolution 235-26, please come forward.
I'm sorry, 221-26.
235-26. It's the first one under legislative hearings. All right. Seeing none. Public input is now closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 235-26.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any council discussion? Seeing none. Councilmember Kaduc.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand this is procedural. Can you please just explain exactly how this ended up on our agenda and why? If we don't approve it, what happens?
You have to approve it. There is no option.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. All right. Madam City Clerk, call the roll.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lastra,
Aye.
Lehman, Long, Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, move on to Resolution 236-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 236-26, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Cape Coral, Florida, calling for a general election for the city of Cape Coral, Florida, providing for a general election for mayor and council member in districts 1, 4, and 6, providing for an effective date.
Okay, is this the same thing, Mr. City Attorney, just a kind of a formality that we're
It
doing?
is.
here? Okay. All right, I will open up public input for Resolution 236-26. If you want to speak, please come forward. Seeing none, public input is now closed. Now entertain a motion regarding Resolution
Motion
236.
to approve 236-26.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lastra,
Aye.
Lehman, Long,
Aye.
Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Mr. Councilmember Donnell?
Hey, yeah, I am, now that it's passed, I am kind of curious though, because stranger things have been happening in our society. What does happen if a council decides to Mr. City Attorney not to approve those?
You'd probably force a lawsuit to be filed against the city mandating that we be enjoined from denying it and forcing us to be brought back for you formally to act. So that's why I said it's perfunctory. You're essentially required to do it under our charter and Florida law.
So you'd be starting the next meeting with another reconsideration vote.
And one after that.
Thank you. That's all. Appreciate it.
All right, let's move on to, oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Stanky.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a requirement that we ratify the charter amendments?
It's all part of what was required and what was presented to us by the Lee County Supervisor of Elections. And it's in there too. Yeah. It is on there as well.
It is part, yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah. What page is it?
Page 2 of Resolution 235.
Page 2, it's on there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, move on to Resolution 221-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 221-26, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, relating to the imposition of stormwater user fees, establishing the amount of the user fee for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2026, imposing user fees against property within the city to fund the city's stormwater program, authorizing the collection of delinquent stormwater charges, approving the stormwater user fee roll, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Crystal Feast, Financial Services Director. So each year, as you know, the city brings forward a number of assessments for your review and approval. There was a initial public hearing held in on July 22nd that established a not to exceed rate to be used as notification to the affected property owners. So the hearings that you will have tonight are considered the final public hearings to establish the rate for the next fiscal year. So we have several presentations to go over, or at least I do, and we'll start with stormwater to set the stage. All right, so Chapter 22 of the City Code of Ordinances requires the city to review and establish its stormwater user fee each year as part of the annual budget process. The introductory resolution was approved on July 22nd, authorizing the city to notice assessed property owners of the rate that was established at that time. Notices were appropriately sent out first week of August, and we're before you tonight to present the final resolution. The stormwater program supports both daily operational needs and long-term infrastructure investments. On the operations side, funding supports swale regrading, drainage pipe management and replacement, canal maintenance, and street sweeping, to name a few. The program also advances priority projects such as drainage and flood prevention and water quality projects. This includes continuing both freshwater and saltwater canal drainage programs to preserve drainage conveyance and functionality. For fiscal year 27, programmed funding includes $1.8 million for environmental and water quality projects, $500,000 for flood prevention, $1.7 million for drainage improvements, and an additional operational capacity through one heavy equipment operator, one service worker 3, and a dedicated swell crew. Additionally, the proposed program includes $3.3 million for weir improvements, $7.7 million for Trafalgar drainage improvements, $2.6 million for catch basin replacement, and $1 million for the Rotary Park stormwater system retrofit. In fiscal year 23, we conducted a comprehensive stormwater rate study, setting the framework for the rates from fiscal year 24 through fiscal year 2033. So based on that study and to support the current level of services and capital investments, we're proposing a rate of $163 per ERU for next fiscal year. So this slide compares Cape Coral's annual stormwater fee with other Florida municipalities across the state. At the proposed rate of 163, you'll see that Cape Coral remains below several comparable communities, including Naples, Fort Lauderdale, and Tampa, to name a few. Each municipality may use a different methodology, such as ERUs versus ESUs, but so this is just a general context rather than a direct one-to-one comparison, but it just provides you some general context to where we land. This slide provides a comparison of stormwater revenue. So looking at fiscal year 26 budgeted versus collected, you'll see that we've almost all have been collected. And when you compare 26 to what's being proposed for or what will be included in the fiscal year 27's budget, there's an increase of about $1 million. All right, and so with that, I ask for your approval of the resolution before you.
Thank you. I now open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on resolution 221-26, please come forward. Please remember to state your name.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, Council, Joanne's neighbors who live in Northeast Cape Coral. As we stated, we were just finished with the UEP. My street floods. So what stormwater damage are we preventing? I don't know. There was a main break on Santa Barbara. I was in the shower at home and I had a washing machine going. My toilet was blooping. They just put in that water main. How does that back up already? My neighbor had to have another meter installed and my toilet's blooping. What the heck is going on? So I know they had to pressurize the line. That shouldn't be happening. If you're just putting in pipes, what's going on that these pipes are breaking on Santa Barbara? And we just went under, we're done in UEP 1 North. And I paid 46 grand. I'm on a 3-lot site. I paid it so I wouldn't have to pay $8,000 in taxes. Some people don't have that kind of money to pay that. But what the heck is going on with the contractors here? Why is our street still flooding? That's what I want to know. When we had sewer and not city sewer, when we had well and septic, it was draining fine. Now that we have city sewer and water, I had water up to where my leaching field was. It's not draining. Something is wrong here. I know Denco handled the contract because I was here when they were initiating the UEP 1, but something's wrong. If the street is not draining and we already have pipes busting, something is wrong. I don't understand. I really don't understand. And then you want to increase fees. Like I said, the governor's cutting the fat. You guys are 35 million already proposing in the hole for your new fiscal year. I get it. The county commissioners, they've put in their budget already. Some people have flatlined their budget, but now you guys are asking for more and more and more of our citizens. I mean, how much more do you want to take from us? There's 15 homes sitting on Northeast 15th Street. Cut the darn infrastructure. I told you guys back then, the other commissioner that used to be here, I told him, why are you still building when these people are going to have to pay for city sewer and water? Those houses are sitting empty. I just don't understand. You're forcing people out of the area. I just looked at the chart. Tallahassee and Jacksonville pays less than Cape Coral. That's the damn capital. What is going on here? I looked at some of you guys' salary. Are you kidding me? You make more than the freaking president? Come on. Are you kidding me? That's why I said we don't need 8 people on the city council here. County commission has what, 4 or 5? Like I said, I worked for them for 35 years. And thank you, Jennifer. You sat with us on certain committees. I really appreciate your input, and I know you from working on different committees. But come on, you guys got to wake up.
Well, Wes Owen, and I want to start, before I start my prepared remarks tonight, I want to speak on the city presentation and another amateur's presentation from the city. Not one single metric, it's just give me more money. There's nothing in there about what they've done with the money you've given them before. There's nothing about metrics. If you go back and you look at their metrics from 2019 to today, there's only 2 metrics that they put in there. How many miles of swale they've done and how many canals they've dredged. Both of those are below 2019 levels, despite all the money you've given them. They're doing less today than they were in 2019, and you want to give them more money yet. Okay, so Cape Coral is proposing another increase in the stormwater fee under Resolution 221-26. The fee would rise from 156 to 136 per ERU for 2027, a 5% increase. Since 22, the stormwater fee has increased from 130 to 163. That is a 25% increase in the 5 years, including 15% just last year. Stormwater infrastructure is important. Drainage, flood prevention, and water quality all have to be funded. But before council raises this fee again, this city should prove it has done everything reasonably possible to improve efficiency and control costs. Taxpayers should not be asked to absorb increase after increase simply because raising the fee is the easiest option. Before approving Resolution 221-26, show us the efficiency, show us the cost controls, show us the metrics that you've done your job. Then justify another increase, because every taxpayer matters in this city.
Please, no applause.
Oh, go ahead.
Good afternoon. This is my first time in this kind of event, council, so excuse me if I sound a little nervous today. A year ago, I moved from Miami to Cape Coral because I couldn't afford a property over there. So I moved to Cape Coral. It's more affordable here.
What's your name, sir?
Yo, Andy. And now I received this letter with these assessments where I believe we'll have to pay out of pocket for all of these assessments that I do not agree that we should be paying for those. We already pay enough taxes. Personally, I'm living paycheck by paycheck, and I'm pretty sure most of the people here are living under the same circumstances. So again, I do not agree with these assessments. I don't think we should be paying out of pockets for this. And I do have a couple of follow-up questions. First of all, I'm assuming that this will come out of our own pockets. I would like confirmation of that. And if I do not agree on paying this, what are the implications that I will personally receive if I do not agree to pay this? Again, this is unjust, unfair. We already pay enough taxes, and I do believe that we should not have to pay for this assessment. Thank you.
My name is Marie Kavanaugh, Take Out the Trash Committee. These assessments, they just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. You people seem to think we have unlimited funds at our fingertips. Many, many, many do not. Oh, and I did make a mistake earlier. It was $500,000 J.C. Park was supposed to bring in, not 500 million. I misspoke there, obviously. But, I'm also looking ahead here. You're doing the same thing for the fire. I'd like an explanation from somebody as to why Cape Coral, we have somewhere in the vicinity of 300 firefighters.
Ma'am, you have to wait until that portion. We'll be at that.
I don't have time to wait.
Well, I'm sorry. This public hearing, you could only speak about stormwater fees.
All right, stormwaters, everything you're raising up. I don't want to pay more. And then if you don't pay, what are you going to do? You're going to attach our house and sell it to a developer? Is that the plan?
Come on up, ma'am, if you want to speak.
Good evening, Kyle Amadou. So I just have a quick question. You guys project usually, 20 to 50 years in the future, depending on what you're talking about. So now we're increasing fees again. Can you guys actually start to estimate what our taxes are going to be on these things in 20 to 30 years? I think that would be great for the citizens to know because, I think a lot of people want to retire here. And if they're not going to be able to afford to retire here, they might want to sell and get out now. So I think that would be great if you could predict that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Monica. I moved here about 2 years ago. I lived in Miami, Pembroke Pines, then in Bonita, and then I moved here. My husband and I retired. We have a set income. And I thought I moved in a place where it's a lot less taxes and, it's better for retired. But unfortunately, I got smacked in the face. It's incredible how much my taxes have been going up. They lowered the tax rate and then they hit you with assessment. So they take the tax rate went out like 1 point down and then they hit you with assessments. I don't understand why that's happening. I mean, as a retired person, I worked all my life as a teacher. I did some side real estate, but this is, to me, I don't understand it. And then we are all here talking and asking you for help to do something about it, but you guys don't listen. You just vote yes on everything against the citizens. It's not fair. I moved here to be in a citizen-friendly, senior-friendly community, and it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing. And my husband and I are really ready to sell and move somewhere else because we don't get the help we want here in this community. Everything, I live in Burnstore, and everything is on hold. Every time I see a project going on, it's on hold. That 7 island thing or 8 island thing never happened. That Kurju, that by Burnstore Marina, it's on hold, and I don't know why. It's a mess. People just don't follow the rules here, and I'm just very disappointed. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on ordinance 221-26? Seeing none, public hearing's now closed. I'll entertain a motion regarding resolution
Motion to
221.
approve 221-26.
Second.
Councilmember Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Feast, would you mind putting slide number 6 back up? And I'll continue on this side. I'm still searching to try to bridge the gap with the things. I continue to hear that you guys are not listening. You guys are not listening. I've asked the question time and time again, but no one has given me an answer. How do you ascertain that we're listening if we hear you, but we're not doing what you say? The only conclusion I can come to is that listening is equivalent to doing what you say or agreeing with your approach. In this particular case, I don't know how else to articulate to you, this is a visual. There was a comment made about not understanding and what to look at, and it made sense to me. What you seek is what you find. It's one of my tenets I say around, but the attention was brought to the lower half. But I send you to look at the totality of it. And then more importantly, months ago, for if you're new here, if you have you see me on this iPad a lot. I try not to do it when you're speaking, but if you say something, I know I go here. The steps are really simple. If you go into our website right now, if you're sitting there, fact check. You go in there under government, select your property taxes, and then click the one that says comparable cities and look at the data. I'm a fish out of water. I'm not an emotional person. I'm about data. And no, the data has not been, if you come from the count, well, it's been just manipulated. I'm a fish out of water. But you can go ahead and research it for yourself. What point am I trying to make in conclusion? And I'm still lost. Cape Coral, we are a growing city. Anybody who's been here anytime, if you've been here 5 years, there are more people in the city now than it was when you got here. So that means everything is increasing. There's more demand for police. There's more demand for water. There's more demand. Everything outside the city, I don't know about you, but every time I go to the store, because every penny counts, everything is going up. But yet I hear it constantly, while everything is going up, you guys want us to cut even more. And those cats that take a beating, trust me, I wear them out. I know the council people wear them out, doing the best that we can to get as low as we can in a capacity now where everything is going up. That confuses a person like me. So in conclusion, can we get better? Yes. But when you compare what we're doing here, what they're doing, what the council's doing, and it's right there for you to look on this screen and you can put your property in, I'm still confused. So yes, I'm the one out there that's saying, look, folks, I get it. Yes, I wanted to go, ma'am, yes, we wanted, Lord, have 2 kids, and I get it. But we're still growing, and we want to contain, and we want to make sure that we protect the city. I love this city. This is a great city. It's a safe city, but it's going to cost to be here, and things are going to go up. So maybe somebody can help me with that listening point, and we are continuing. They are continuing to work. I know they get beat down, but their job is 12 hours, 14 hours a day, looking to get this more and more concise. So that's all you're going to hear from me tonight. But yes, I am going to be voting yes, because I've warned them out over the week about these prices, and I understand the totality. So just don't think that, oh, you just say yes. It doesn't work that way. Thank you. That's all.
Councilmember Kaduc.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. City Manager, what have we done with the money?
That's a great question. I love answering these. So the city of Cape Coral, as you know, is the largest canal system in the world. And so when you think about the number of catch basins, outfalls, pipes, dredging programs, and the amount of swales that need to be regraded, there is no city in the world that has the amount of stormwater assets that we have to have comparatively. Port St. Lucie in Florida is close, but we have the more canals, which means more pipes, more drainage. And so the money gets spent on all those programs. So if you think about the street, it starts at the edge of the pavement. So a portion of the stormwater money goes to swale regrading. I'm actually going to read a high five highlight tonight about a swale regrading job. So it starts there. Then you have catch basins. Those are the concrete structures that the water, the stormwater goes into. We have to repair, replace any damage, and maintain any that are old. All the ones in the north are coming up on end of life, 60 plus years.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but isn't there a long wait list for the replacement of these?
So our longest wait list is in the swale regrading. So as more properties get built, so one resident talked about, what we were doing in the past. Well, as it's real easy to regrade a swale when there's no homes there. We're just basically one person complains, hey, the lot next to me is too high and it's causing me to back up. Our crews can blow right through that from the high point to low point very easily. As soon as you start having multiple driveways of different elevations, ramp driveways, culvert driveways, now you have to have somebody go out there and design the flow. You have to take surveys, have to, put marks out there. It's a lot more involved. And so what we're having is, by not adding crews, but adding the workload, the volume that those same crews need to do, they're accomplishing less. So what we need to do is add crews to keep up. But let me get back to, so yes, there is a long list of swale regrading, and that's why when we said about the last stormwater rate study, which is probably a good thing for our residents to read to see why we set the fee that we did and what that fee increase is doing. It's adding actual infrastructure maintenance crews in the field, the workers that people see in the front of their house. So we have the swale regrading, we have the catch basin, the concrete. Then from there, you have the conveyance system, the pipes that connect either from there to the canal or to connect across the street to another basin, and so forth, moving water, stormwater underneath us all day long. Then we have the canal, the outfalls, a lot of silt and debris gets deposited from, runoff in front of them. They clog up or they start to silt in. We have an outfall maintenance program. The grout around the outfalls through people's seawalls fail, and we need to make sure we continue to regrout that so they don't lose soil behind their seawall. Then eventually you have the weirs that actually act like miniature dams but hold water in each individual basin. They all have sluice gates. They all can be raised and lowered to make sure we can capture water in the dry season and let it go in the rainy season. So our stormwater system, I put it up against just about any other system in the world. The only thing I think that even compares close to us is New Orleans, and that's because they're below sea level and they actually have to pump their water out. But as far as what our crews do and the work they put forward, look at the chart. As Councilmember Donnell said, we're maintaining probably the second or third largest municipal separate storm sewer system in Florida, Jacksonville being the largest, but they're combined with the county, having the most miles of canals, most mile drainage pipes, and we are producing that at a rate that 90% of the cities are striving to get to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The stormwater study was completed in 2023. Where can I find that?
We can send you a copy of it, but
I tried looking online. I just couldn't quickly find it. That would be helpful because it says that it covers from years 2024 to 2033. So I think that would be important, and then we can share that. Thank you.
Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. City Manager, I had the same question Councilmember Kaduke wanted to know in terms of the wait list. I know in 2024, I had many residents reaching out to me, not only from my district, but other districts throughout the city, saying there was an 18-month wait list for that swale regrading. Are we better, worse, or the same?
I don't have that information with me, but
You could get
that's what adding these crews is trying to keep up with
I understand. And then secondly, Ms. Joanne spoke, and it sounds to me, and I've driven in the Northeast all summer, needed a alignment after. And it sounds to me like Ms. Joanne is concerned, regarding just spending the $38,000 or $36,000 on her UEP, and she's concerned about drainage now, like maybe we did something faulty. Is that because of I talk to Matt Williams about this all the time, but is it because of the massive amount of rainfall that we get in such short periods of time that it might not be draining, or could there be another reason?
Most often it is based on intensity. So
that's what I thought.
You can only design a stormwater system to handle a certain amount of rainfall per hour, right? It's like pouring water in a cup.
Okay.
So what happens is when you get a major rainstorm, and I can tell you probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, you all may recall, we ended up having some flash flood from a rain event that dropped like almost 4 inches of rain in an hour.
Yeah.
And we actually had to activate the EOC and do a couple of things. So that type of rainfall event, if it was that night, then that lady would have been the same as everybody in that area, which basically was from Del Prado, I think, over to Nelson, north of Pine Island Road. There was probably about a 4 square mile area. The amount of rain that dropped that night was just, it was impressive. It's a hurricane level rainfall.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would just say, to that resident, Ms. Joanne, just reach out if things don't get better, or if you still have concerns, and I can contact you. I can put you in contact with Public Works. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, seeing no other lights on, we got a motion second on the floor. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Aye. Long.
No.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell.
Aye.
Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduke.
No.
6 ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
Okay, let's move on to Resolution 222-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 222-26, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 non-ad valorem assessment roll for solid waste service assessments, approving the solid waste service assessment rates for such fiscal year, and providing for collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you. So this resolution covers the annual solid waste assessment, which provides a dedicated source of funding for our garbage collection and disposal services for the upcoming fiscal year. As the other assessment, Chapter 22 of the City Code of Ordinances requires council to establish an annual assessment rate in conjunction with the city's budget process. The introductory resolution was approved on July 22nd, and that action established a not-to-exceed rate and authorized the city to provide a required notice to affected property owners. And we are before you tonight as part of the final public hearing. Changes that affect the fiscal year 27 proposed rate include Waste Pro's CPI increase of 2.75% for their services on the residential pickup. And the Lee County Solid Waste Division is proposing a 3.25% increase. That was actually approved by their board very recently. So that 3.25% increase has been approved and will be included in our proposed rate. So for fiscal year 27, we're proposing a total assessment that the total assessment remain the same as last year per dwelling unit. While the total assessment remains level, its components have changed, as you can see from the chart on the screen. You'll notice a reduction in the city operating and personnel costs to offset the increased collection and disposal costs for Lee County and Waste Pro, which I just mentioned. This allows the city to maintain the overall rate at the prior year level. And just as a reminder, I mentioned this at the last public hearing, the rate associated with the operating and personnel costs, that's that fourth row, included an elevated rate in anticipation of an increase in the cost of waste hauler services in the new contract for fiscal year 2028. So the goal was accomplished where we got the rates to where we think they will be in fiscal year 28 while building a reserve earmarked for disaster recovery and 2 months of operating expenses. At $384.25 annually, Cape Coral's proposed residential rate, you can see, is in line with nearby comparable city service areas that also do a 1-week pickup. So you can see that the rate here falls in line with other cities statewide. With that, I ask for your approval.
Okay, thank you. I'll now public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on resolution 222-26, please come forward.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, Council, Joanne Denegris. As I stated, I have some yard waste out front. Evidently, they only picked up one side of the street and not the other. When Waste Pro came back to council to put in their bid for the contract, we should have never went with them. We should have stayed away from Waste Pro. I don't know who the other competitors may have been. Waste Pro is, I mean, they've done a lot better with their services, but now they're telling me I have to tie my bundle. Do they want a bow on it, as I stated before? Ridiculous. Come on. I had to hire somebody to cut the limbs from my tree and place it out front, neatly stacked. And, I called, Waste Pro to tell them in advance, make sure that they have a truck big enough to take the waste away. They're telling me now that I have to tie it. So I have somebody that's going to come over and tie it. But like I said, what do they want, a bow on this stuff? Okay, God help us if we get hit by another hurricane. I'm going to talk about waste management. I'm going to talk about stormwater. Why I flooded this time was not because of that storm. It's because when I was on well and septic, I was draining fine. But now that they have put in the city sewer and water, it is not draining. Something is wrong with either the swales or the stormwater drains that they put in. I don't know why. The whole street was flooded. I took pictures, and it wasn't during that time. We flood more now than we have ever before. I've lived on my street for 20 years. I built my home 20 years ago. I spoke to council before. You keep building, cut back the infrastructure. We can't handle the influx of people that are coming to Cape Coral. I understand we're growing, but we need to put a moratorium on building. We can't handle the infrastructure, police, fire, our roads. We can't handle the people that are coming here, but you still want to add more to us that have been living here. We need to put a moratorium. Stop, because I know you want the tax revenue, but it's killing us that have been here. We're paying what we need to pay. But I had said before, you need to stop building. Like I said, there's 15 homes sitting derelict up on Northeast 15th Street. Nobody's there. And, it's just, it's going to be ransacked by squatters because they can't sell the property because now there's city sewer and water there. People are not going to buy those homes. And they're spec homes. Nobody's going to buy them. Like I said, I'm just preaching to the choir here. Hopefully you guys, I understand you are listening, but come on, we're paying out the butt for some of these services. And like I said, I've been in North Cape for 26 years. Thank you.
Hi, Tom Shadrack. I talked last time at the initial hearing about this, but I noticed the chart was left off this time about how much reserve is created. So I brought it with me from the last hearing. We're adding $8 million to the reserve pot as a surplus. We're up to $35 million now. There's no financial policy other than you're using this to inflate the value because you think that's what we're going to have to pay next year when we get the recompete of Waste Pro. I think this is crazy. 5 years ago, we didn't require a reserve. Now we have $35 million that residents have been overcharged. And you want to look at a comparison chart, there's nothing wrong with being the cheapest. Okay? So basically, you could give $100 back to everybody on this, and we still have $25 million in reserve. I don't know why it's so important. If you can justify what the cost is next year because rates went up because of the competition, we were getting a great value. Okay, I think people can accept that. But to have created this $35 million of surplus is crazy, and it's done. You're adding $8 million this year, and that 1/3 or 4th category that you're calling operating and personal cost is ridiculous, that most of that is reserve. And it's not personnel and operating costs. So this is an issue of transparency. I think Councilmember Long asks every year, how much of that is just reserve versus personnel, and why can't you divide that? We've always discussed that. I guess you don't want to be transparent about that because it never gets changed. But thanks for not raising it this year. And there's no policy on why we even have $35 million in this reserve category and what we're going to do with it. We don't have capital expenses at all. So it's ridiculous and it's a waste. And that should be back in our residents' pockets. Thank you.
Wessel, and I'm just getting up here to speak because he just said everything I was going to say because it's one of his slush funds. We all know it. We all know there's too much money in there. There's no reason to raise it so early, and you don't need to be raising it again now. And dittoed everything you said, Tom. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
May I say something there?
Hold on, he's speaking.
You can come after me. Kyle Amadou, District 7. So talking about these, slush funds or whatever you want to call them, did or did we not get $100 million interest-free loan offer for 6 months by the state due to Hurricane Ian? Didn't we also get 100% of everything recouped? And I think you actually said that's very unlikely to happen again. But to my knowledge, that actually happens in almost every storm. Am I correct in that? So again, we keep on going for disaster preparedness, but we have all this money apparently already set aside. We still want more set aside, but then we get disaster money sent to us that we can use. And I believe, again, it was 6 months interest-free, $100 million available to us. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me. So again, why do we need to keep on expanding this so much? What other purpose is it going to be used for besides storm damage cleanup? And can you guys change it by a vote to move it from something with storm damage to anything else you guys want? Curious. Thank you.
Now, my question is, we got this paper in the mail. Notice to property owners do not pay. This is not a bill. and we are invited to come and to the hearing. But I feel like I'm wasting my time here today because this happened last year. I came here with the same thing with assessment, and nothing has been done. All of you guys vote aye, and nobody's I feel like no one is listening to us, like we're speaking to deaf ears, and it's really frustrating. At this point, I feel like packing up and leave because I'm wasting my time. I have better things to do than sit here, but I'm worried about the future of my home. I have a small house. I don't want to pay more taxes. I can't afford it. I don't want to, what, do I have to go work again at 65? I don't want to. Why are you all voting yes, 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 and not even listening to us? That's what's crazy. That's what's sad. And I feel like packing up and leaving this room.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on Resolution 222-26? Seeing none, public hearing's now closed. Entertain a motion regarding Resolution 222-26.
Motion to approve 222-26.
Second.
Councilmember Kaduta.
Thank you, Mayor. Crystal, it says on chart, I don't even know what number this is. I guess it would be 4. Cape Coral operating and personnel costs, and it's going down by $11.57. What exactly is that?
This program does have employees assigned to it, 7 out of Public Works, and we also have a billing clerk that's assigned to this program that are funded through the rates. In addition to that, that is also where we built in the elevation of the rate, preparing for our contract in fiscal year 28.
Okay, and the slide above says Waste Pro will receive a 2.75% CPI increase. And sorry for the person that's running the screens, the very next one down, 26 and 27, when it shows on chart 4, a 2.75% CPI increase would only be $4.60, not $4.80. So the proposed fee in 2027 should be $171.88, not $172.08.
So Waste Pro's contract has many line items within it. So that 2.75% is added to each line, each service that they provide. So once you add all of those up, it does get you to the $4.80. It's just a massive list of all of the breakdown of their services, and that 2.75 is applied to each one. So with rounding, it does get you to the $4.80.
Well,
it won't math exactly.
Okay.
Just using the last year's rate compared to what we're proposing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very close. It's 20 cents off. We're nickel and diming literally, but that's, if you're using a 2.75% CPI increase, it would be $4.60, changing what the proposed rate would be for 2027. I'm very thankful that it stays the same, but it just, if we're saying it's a 2.75% increase and then you're trying to do that math, it is just off. That's all.
It's a 2.75% increase from their contract fees, their long list of fees that are included in that. So when we apply it to that and then calculate our proposed rate, it is a difference of the 480.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is to address Monica's concerns. Some of the meetings you may have missed and why it seems like, oh, it's just brought up and voted yes on, is that there were many meetings before where we've brought in consultants and looked at what the cost of the services would be over a period of years. And so when we go through the budgeting process and the dollars required for this, it's gone through many other stages where others have come forward and brought their concerns, and we look and we break it down, just like you're seeing here, into the component parts. And so this is just where we're memorializing what has happened before as the budget has been evaluated. And most of these, especially you just saw as it relates to the CPI increase, it's part of their contract that they got when they got the contract. And so when we evaluate these as to where we would expect these to go year after year, it's those things that are committed to in contracts that get played into the equation where we can't say, don't pay them that because we're contracted to pay them that. And then any of the personnel and capital that we can control, as you can see that in the operating and personnel costs, you can see that was brought down. So another thing, just moving here last year that you may not be familiar with, is that we were getting tremendously low rates in the past that we know we're not going to get. And so part of this, the way that this budgeting process was put in, was to soften the blow of that, which will occur, guaranteed to occur on the next contract that we give whatever waste company that we give, because we just happen to have, timing wise, had an extremely low rate that was committed to that is no longer available from any provider. So that's one of the reasons why you see what it is. It's not just a matter of saying our blessing over it without a great deal of thought and consideration. Thank you.
Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Steinke, for stating that. I think that's important for those of you that are new. It's true. We have discussed this budget, discussed these contracts, researched over the last probably 8 months. So we are just formalizing this with a vote. Crystal, could you explain exactly what or maybe Mr. City Manager, you should explain it. Maureen, hello. Can you explain why we have this solid waste fund? And I also want to clarify that it is not increasing. I think I know why, because I remember during Irma when there was a giant pile of stuff in my district and I got complaints daily as I had just been elected into office the first time, because residents were so upset that we had this giant pile, and it's because we have to get reimbursement from FEMA. So we have to spend our money to remove all that waste. And I believe that because of that, and then definitely because of Ian, we wanted to have a solid waste reserve so that we could utilize those funds to begin the cleanup immediately. And I will say with Ian, it was incredible because we did get things picked up more quickly. Can you please explain that, Maureen? Or Terry? Yeah, thank you. And we are also, as Councilmember Steinke stated, we are in the process of the bidding process to get our solid waste contract renewed, potentially with a new vendor. So stay tuned with that. And as Councilmember Steinke also stated, this increase or this was done so that we could soften the blow, because he's not wrong. Cheaper isn't always better. As Ms. Joanne stated, maybe Waste Pro wasn't the best choice, but I do believe at the time council selected them, they were the most inexpensive choice. Thank you, Terry.
Yes, hi, Terry Schweitzer, the solid waste manager for the city of Cape Coral and the debris manager during those after hurricane events. Hopefully I'll never have to worry about it again and no one else in the room. So briefly, in the reserve, there is money set aside to cover cleanup costs. After Ian, if in finance could correct me if I'm wrong, but it was raised. We do get reimbursed from FEMA. That takes months. Matter of fact, I want to say it was around August of 24 before we got our first checks from Ian, which was in September 22. We have to pay the contractors. They're not going to do the work for free. So we have to have that reserve fund there to pay the contractors while we're waiting through all the FEMA reviews and such. Make sure that all the debris cleanup that we did was eligible for reimbursement. So we need money in there to cover that interim period as we say.
Right. I remember, like I said, when I was first elected after Irma, I mean, we received hundreds of phone calls and emails weekly from residents who were very upset that their items hadn't been picked up quickly. So I appreciate that explanation. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, again, to address Ms. Joanne, who spoke earlier about stopping, putting a moratorium on building. Remind me again of the Senate bill that the state won't let us do that, right?
Yes, it's Senate Bill SB 180 that remains in effect. It actually went retroactive. It really put a gun to our head and then cut our legs off, frankly. And we can't do anything about that until October of 2027. And that's presuming and assuming that they don't extend that. If they extend that, it puts us that by far more in jeopardy and exposes us to a potential legal action if we were to do that moratorium.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for you, Ms. Joanne. It's beyond our control, sadly. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Kadouk?
Thank you, Mayor. What is the target fund for the hurricane debris cleanup for solid waste? Like, what is the target fund that we're going to have?
There was no defined number, but I think, to compare for Hurricane Ian, the disaster recovery, the debris cost to recover on the debris pickup was over $60 million. It was less in other storms. So where we are now, we feel like it's a comfortable number to where it will allow us to start that recovery process as soon as we can, as soon as we're able to. So we think that where we are now is a good number. And also built into that is 2 months of operating expenses to build a reserve for that as well.
Perfect segue back to the operating and personnel costs. Sorry to beat you up on this. It's going down $11.57 per ERU or EBU. How are we losing someone? You said there's about 7 FTEs. How does it go down?
So based on our estimate, with the rate where it is, where it's being proposed, as it was mentioned before and in my slide at the initial hearing, it will create an additional surplus of about 8 million, and that's an estimate, which will get us to a reserve of about 35 million. That's leaving the rate where it is.
Right.
So again, that estimate, felt like we were in a comfortable spot, successful with the increase. And so we were able to reduce the operating and personnel costs where that reserve elevation was built in so that the the increase for Waste Pro in Lee County was not passed on to the residents. It just kept the rate level. So we reduced what we were building for the reserve to offset those external costs.
Thank you. And after we implement a new solid waste contract with whomever that is, are we going to be building a reserve again, or is there still a reserve?
There will still be a reserve.
Perfect. Thank you.
And before we conclude on this topic, I just want to kind of add to what Terry said, especially as it related to FEMA and the recovery assistance that we receive. Yes, Hurricane Ian was an exception where they provided reimbursement at 100%, but normally, and in all other storm cases, it's been 75%, 12.5% from the state, and then the city is still responsible for 12.5%. So that's typically what we can expect moving forward. And since Ian, we've had 2 other storms, and it was not matched equally the way it was for Ian. It went back to the 75, 12.5 split. And as far as $100 million loan, what we received as part of Hurricane Ian was a $52 million LAP loan. So it was actually $52 million where they advanced us funds to help with those recovery efforts. And as we receive, as money is obligated and we request reimbursement and we receive those funds, it goes back to paying the loan. And the interest is paid on that loan, and it's paid to the state. All right.
Okay, seeing no other lights on, we got a motion second on the floor. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
No.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kadouk.
No.
6 ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
Move on to Resolution 223-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 223-26, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 non-ad valorem assessment roll for fire protection assessments, approving the fire protection assessment rates for such fiscal year and providing for collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, providing for hardship deferrals, establishing an administrative petition procedure regarding the number of Tier 2 equivalent benefit units attributed to tax parcels, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you. All right, Resolution 223-26 covers the fire service assessment, which provides a dedicated funding source for our fire protection services for the upcoming fiscal year. Chapter 17 of the City Code provides the uniform process for imposing and administering assessments that fund essential services and capital improvements. The introductory resolution was approved on July 22nd, authorizing the city to notify affected property owners of the maximum rate. Today's resolution will establish the final rate for next fiscal year. The FSA supports fire protection services throughout Cape Coral. It helps the city maintain fire stations, replace and maintain equipment, and provide the personnel needed to protect residents, property owners, and businesses. The assessment uses a two-tier methodology intended to allocate cost across benefited according to the benefits received. So there are two tiers. Tier 1 is the availability benefit. All parcels, including vacant parcels, share in the fixed cost of maintaining a 24-hour readiness to respond, and that it represents 70% of the assessment. Tier 2 is the protection of structural loss benefit, and so only approved parcels are assessed under this tier. The charge is based on structure value, not taxable value, expressed as an equivalent benefit unit, or EBU. And so Tier 2 represents the remaining 30% of the assessment. Looking at the numbers, the rates being presented were calculated assuming an 81% recovery through assessments. The general fund will pick up the remaining 19%. This is the same recovery rate as fiscal year 26, and the rate approved today represents what will be used to fund fiscal year 27. The decrease in operating costs equals about a 2.29% decrease compared to last year. You'll see that Tier 1 rates will decrease by $7.69, and Tier 2 rates will decrease by 31 cents. So on average, that means a decrease just under $25 per year. The proposed 27 assessment is calculated at 81% cost recovery, consistent with last year. And the general fund will pick up the remaining 19%, as I mentioned. And the total assessment revenue is proposed at $66.85 million, a decrease of approximately $1.6 million from last year. Right, and the last line provides you with a snapshot of what the cost would be for an average single family. You'll see that it would be $515.43 compared to the $540.17 last year. Some key investments that will be funded through the assessment include implementing replacement apparatus schedule, station facility maintenance such as painting and flooring, hazmat material analyzer replacement, and an HVAC replacement at multiple fire stations. With that, I ask for your approval.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll now open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on Resolution 223-26, please come forward.
Yes, Wes Owen. Cape Coral, the city of Cape Coral is asking council to approve Resolution 223-26, setting the 27 fire service assessment rate at an 81% recovery. But the city still has not clearly explained how this works. The Fire Operations Fund increased by almost $7 million in 2027. At the same time, the average homeowner's fire FSA is expected to decrease, and the city still calls that 81%. That math ain't mathing. We know the fiscal 27 budget uses $1.8 million more from the general fund and spends almost half your fire fund of $3.8 million. So the question is simple. In an election year, how does the fire budget go up, the FSA go down, and the city still claim 81% cost recovery? And after the election, a 30% increase is budgeted, is forecasted. Until the city clearly explains this calculation, council should not approve it. Do your jobs. Vote no on this resolution because every taxpayer matters. Thank you.
Marie Kavanaugh. A while back, I did a little bit of looking into the fire department, and we have somewhere in the vicinity of 300 employees total. Yet we have 13 battalion chiefs, each, as I recall, and I may be a little off on some of them, are each earning over $200,000 a year. Fort Myers, however, last year had 3 battalion chiefs, and they did away with those. Now, you're very quick to say, oh, well, this city has this city does this city does yada, 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 yada. But yet, when it goes the other way, here we are. I'm not denigrating the fire department at all, and they need to be paid. But 13 battalion chiefs? Seriously? And Dr. D, you're correct. Prices are going up on everything. But yet, I have yet to see this council take a project and scale it back to save money. That is not done. That is something that needs to be looked at. J.C. Park is a classic example of that. That thing is a mess. It's an $18 million failure. And the city, he owes us an explanation as to how it's going to get fixed and who is going to pay to get it fixed. And it better not be us.
Thank you. Before you get going there, the gentleman there in the back that's been speaking, could you ask him to either step outside or just, we can hear you up here. Thank you. Good, Mr. Shadrack.
Wes, it wasn't you. You're cool. You're cool. I'm just going to foot stop like I did last time. The assessment we all get is really lacking in information. I think we should work on correcting it for next year. There should be a comparison of what was paid last year, just like our trim notices, and explain, especially when it comes to the FSA. How do you determine how many EBU tier 2s you have? It's not explained on the form. Doesn't show why you have 40, 60, 70 EBU 2s. That should be a topic of discussion and interest. It should be comparable to what was last year, so you don't have to go hunt through everything and figure out everything. Why can't that be done? That should be simple. I've complained about it every year. Hopefully next year we get that fixed. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on Resolution 223-26? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed, and I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 223.
Motion to approve 223-26.
Is there a second? Okay. Councilmember Kadouk.
Thank you, Mayor. Crystal, will you please explain how the FSA goes down when the operational costs are increasing from fiscal year 26, which is adopted, to proposed fiscal year 27? It's showing 83.1 million for 26 and 89.9 million for 27.
So that is the fire department's total budget, which includes other services outside of the fire protection services, which is what we're approving tonight, the rate for that service tonight. It also includes EMS, which is funded by the general fund. And so that's why the total department budget can come up while you see the amount used in our recovery calculation goes down, causes the rate to go down. So if I can get the...
Yeah, it's showing general fund 1.8 million and reserves 3.8 million. So when we're using the reserves, or then next year, there's a huge increase. And you talked about this on July 22nd as well, that you weren't funding the fire stations, and then that would be proposed for 28 and beyond.
Yeah, so 2 things. So the reserve that's in the budget is for encumbrances. This for fiscal year 27, we're estimating encumbrances instead of what we've done in prior years, where we've analyze those after year end, after the budget's adopted, and then we bring them forward as part of BA1, which can sometimes in some years be a large increase only months after the budget is approved. So based on discussions with council last time we adopted BA1 for fiscal year 26, council expressed an interest in us trying to estimate that as part of the adopted budget so that we're not taking a large hit or incorporating a large increase with BA1. So that is what we're doing with this proposed budget. So that use of fund balance is the use of assigned fund balance to cover fiscal year 26 encumbrances that we estimate will need to be carried forward. So that's what that is for. As far as, what was your other part of that question?
Just how we have our operations increases, but you said EMS.
Yep, and then the fire stations was the other question that you had. So the plan for the fire stations is in fiscal year 27, we have design and apparatus scheduled for Fire Station 14. And what we've done in future years, the plan is to build in 10 million for construction next year and then 5 million each year after. So we can operate on a pay-as-you-go basis to fund and construct the next 3 fire stations. That was, we thought that was the better approach, given the fact that there was a desire to try to reduce, our use of the city's debt capacity, right? So we are trying to build in a pay-as-you-go plan for the next 3 fire stations. Next fiscal year includes design for 14, construction the year after, design, construction. And so our plan is to build that into the assessment calculation.
Okay, and I guess why didn't we just continue to do that this year?
We have not done that before.
Okay, so why are we doing it in the future?
Based on discussions with council in prior budget workshops, we did a presentation on this where there was a desire to try to reduce our use of debt where we could. This was in a way to work on a pay-as-you-go basis to fund those projects.
Right, so we're lowering the FSA, but if we kept it where it was or higher, we would already start that reserve, so to speak, to fund the future fire stations.
Well, what's built in for next year or built into the calculation is the design. So we have started it. So the design is built in. On the slide that we have up, if you look at the first line, which provides you this assessment revenue for fiscal year 26, that's 68.4 compared to fiscal year 27, the 66.9. Last year's assessment included a number of capital purchases and projects that were approved as part of the fire department's program modifications. This year, those modifications were presented to council and council chose not to fund those. And so that is also a representation of why that number is less compared to last year.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind all those that are still here and those that might be watching from home that we began a couple of years ago having a budget town hall here for the facility of any citizens that were concerned about how these numbers were established, what was going to make up the assessment, why the numbers were what they were in the budget, which personnel were being all of that. And so, like we said before, this is for memorialization of that entire process that came along the way. And I find it interesting that on the first assessment we dealt with, it was a slight increase, and that we were asked to say no to that. The second one remained the same, and we were asked to say no to that. And now we have one that's being reduced, and we're being asked to say no to that. And yet, when I was here for the budget town hall that we had, and the fire department was here to talk about all of these numbers, I don't think there were a half a dozen people that went to the table to ask any questions about why these numbers are the way they are. So from a full and fair disclosure, a full transparency basis, there are many times that are given for a full understanding of why the numbers are the way they are. So I would encourage in the next budget cycle to get involved earlier, to come to the town hall. A lot of effort is put into making sure that we have resources there and all the facts behind where all these numbers are coming from. When they come down to a number as specific as 66, 845, 893, that's the time you can ask, how did you come up with that number? And where did that come from? And so before we ever get here, there's a lot of those questions that can be answered to have the clarity and the understanding that we've been going through when we're asked to approve what's before us. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick observation, since this is our third assessment presentation that we've received. In the last two, we were presented with charts that showed where our rates were at in relation to other cities. Can't help but notice that we don't have that same information on this one. The implication to me, obviously, is that it probably isn't as favorable, but maybe you might be able to explain.
No, when I did research across the state, the methodology for our specific assessment was different than what I could find across the board. You know, other cities adopted a different methodology. Some didn't have the tier 1, tier 2 approach. It was just a fixed cost. Some did have the tier approach, but using a different methodology built in. So I didn't think it would be valuable. It wouldn't represent a true comparison.
And so it would be your position then that that same explanation wouldn't be relative to the stormwater collection assessments, for example, that we already voted on and were provided information on?
I'm sorry, what?
The stormwater assessments that we already voted on, so those are all applied uniformly based on the figures that we received?
The methodologies were more comparable. They were close. Some used ERA, some used what they called an ESU, but the approach was very similar. So my professional opinion, I felt it was still valuable to the public and to you to use and to show. It was just vastly different for.
So if we were to do the work and go through and figure out where those formulas differentiated and basically get down to the brass tacks of it all as far as per dwelling unit, which a lot of them are reflected, but I understand what you're saying with the tier 1 and tier 2. Would it be your position that we would be situated at the higher end of that or the lower end of that for our FSA rates per residential dwelling?
For
the rate, like we're looking at 515. For example, Fort Lauderdale is like 350. Fort Myers is like 200. So
I'm not in a position to really give an opinion on it because I haven't done that deep of a dive in comparing the methodologies.
I would wager that we were probably at the top of that matrix. So, I would love to see that information. I understand the point that you're making with regards to us maybe being a little different. I think that probably is applied to all the other ones too. If we could get that information, I would love that. It's tough to look at it and see that the charts that we see where we're at the bottom end, we parade out, but in my opinion, we're probably at the high end, they're absent. That doesn't sit right with me, but.
I don't know if we are or not.
Okay, well, I would love to find out to that point. So that would be my only comment on this one, Mayor. And I do obviously appreciate the fact that it's dropping. We did raise this, I believe last year. I was a no vote during that raise. I'm going to be a no this year for that exact reason, even though it is lower in the rate. Just want to put that out there. thank you.
Just one quick thing I wanted to mention. As you can see, the average single-family home based on this chart is about $275,000. I know an individual that lives in Cape Royal, which we all know is an enclave of Cape Coral. So they pay a fire district. But just to put it in perspective, that individual owns a home. His assessed value is about $690,000. It's about 2.5 times the average single-family home that's listed on this chart. If you take 2.5 times of the 515, that takes you up to about $1,287 is what a person in Cape Coral with a home value of about $690,000 is going to pay in their FSA. He pays $3,000 to the Matt Lachey Fire District for his fire service alone. So I just wanted to kind of put that in perspective in a community that's an enclave within Cape Coral. That more than likely, if there was a fire in that community, we would, because of our mutual aid agreement, we'd be going there anyway. But I just thought that was important to mention what he's paying in relation to that same home value house would pay here in the city of Cape Coral. Councilmember Steinke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. One is there is, and I think I've mentioned it before, there is a tool that you can use that's available to you as a citizen. If you just Google Cape Coral checkbook, you can go and take a look at how each one of these compares to other cities around us. Not as many cities as was on that bar graph, But I know that one thing that is true, and maybe Mr. City Manager, you can speak to it. There are some cities that actually partner with the county for fire services, and costs get spread out where the actual cost for fire shows up in a county receipt, if you will, than it does a city receipt. And so even with how the FSA is calculated being different, as was presented to us, oftentimes it's not a matter of calculations, how it's paid, that it wouldn't necessarily be paid to the city, but it might be paid through a county partnering. Is that not true?
That is true. There's a number of reasons why fire is really hard to compare apples to apples. One being that specifically that, so for example, take our sister city, Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie does not have a fire department. So a lot of people like to compare them to Cape Coral, but their staff does not have to respond to, manage, or oversee, or council doesn't even have to budget for a fire department. So in that case, they go through a fire district similar to what the mayor just said about the Matlacha Fire District serving Royalty. Another thing that differs is that we in the city of Cape Coral put a priority on the personal response and the medics. And so we have we have paramedics and advanced life support on our trucks. You do not see that in all fire departments throughout the state. But our community wants that because the calls they go to where we want somebody not have to wait for an ambulance to provide service immediately, we pay that premium. You compare us to a department that does not provide that level of service, of course they're going to be cheaper. But your response time for that is going to be a lot longer while you're sitting there in an emergency waiting for somebody from the county to show up. Additionally, as you all know, even with the city, we only recover 81% of our fire department costs through the FSA. So even if Crystal were to look at what the other departments recover through their FSA, if they have one, it may be a 20% cost recovery, a 50% cost recovery. So there are a lot of reasons why, from the fire perspective, it's just hard to do an apples to apples comparison.
Okay. Councilmember Long?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, my point was, I think still stands. I think to the last thing, if they were only doing a 50% recovery, wasn't that the point? Is they're charging their residents less? I mean, my only main point is that it's awfully convenient that anytime that we're in this position where it seems like we might be on the higher end of the spectrum, there's all these nuanced approaches that this makes us different. So it's okay that we might be on that spectrum. The mayor, I appreciate the point you're making, but again, if we're cherry picking data, that poor guy in Matlacha is paying $350,000. Well, I can look and say, well, Fort Lauderdale, they have a flat rate for their residential and it's like $350. I don't give a damn how big his house is. So you can pick and choose and throw numbers around to meet your thing. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't be doing that. We should be getting the same exact data that's being used to justify every single assessment on every single assessment presentation, period. Because when we don't, you leave that void open, and then the void of truth is what? So that's my only point here. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to answer the question there was a question about what is tier 1, tier 2. And so for those members of the community who have not been here very long, our fire service assessment was taken all the way to the Florida Supreme Court and upheld to be a valid fire service assessment. There is a report out there that I think will answer every question that anyone has about how it is built and what was upheld by the Supreme Court. It's dated 8/22/2013, and it actually has exactly what you want to know about tier 1, tier 2, how certain costs are apportioned. The name of the study is City of Cape Coral Fire Rescue Non-Ad Valorem Assessment Study. On page 16 through 20, if you have a chance to look at that report, every single line item in the fire department budget is looked at on whether or not it is a benefit to a real property or to a real person. If it's a benefit or a portion, any of that cost is a portion to a real person, it is not legally allowed to be in the fire service assessment. So you will see every line broken out. 1.7% of this is to a person, so only 98.3% can be put into the assessment, 3% of this, and then all the other costs are up to 100% allocatable to the fire service assessment. Additionally, if you, I think I misspoke there. 16 through 20 is the line item allocation distribution. And then if you want to know about how is tier 1 and tier 2 developed, there is an entire write-up. Tier 1 is assigned to every parcel equally, whether it's improved or unimproved. And the thought there is our fire department is ready to serve whether a call comes in or not. And there can equally be a fire on any one of those properties. So tier 1 is the cost that we need to have our fire department ready and available to take a call. Those costs are identified and then broken out on a per parcel basis. Tier 2 goes to the level of protection that the structure on the property obtains. In the report, it specifically states that tier 2, all improved properties with structures on them receive an additional benefit of protection from the loss of the structures due to fire as follows: maintenance of minimum cost of insurance. By providing a favorable ISO rating, the city provides property owner with the ability to obtain fire insurance at a favorable rate. And there's a benefit if not insured. If not insured, the property owners would have assurance that they have protected from actual economic loss from their structures, and it goes on and on. So based on the value of the structure on the property, we get that certified from the property appraiser. We know exactly what the land value is and what the structure value is. We divide the structure value in $5,000 increments. That's how we create an EBU. So if you have a $100,000 property, you're 20 EBUs. If you have a $200,000 property, you're 40 EBUs. The tier 2 component, the cost of actually, not the readiness to serve, the cost that we would have regardless of one call ever came in, the other consumable costs go into tier 2. And then tier 2 is divided out by the total number of EBUs. So somebody that has a $200,000 structure, they're going to pay the same as somebody with an unapproved lot on tier 1, but on tier 2, they're going to pay higher than somebody that has a $100,000 structure. That is also written into Resolution 223-26, which is before the council tonight. Section 6E2 spells that out. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other, hold on a minute.
Quick one. Where was that, Mr. City Manager? Because I like to send this out. I'm on the website right now. Where can we find that outside of resolution on our city council website, on our city government website?
I didn't do a direct crosswalk. I could send that to you, but if you just type in Cape Coral Fire Service Assessment and do a search, the 2013 study will come up. It is on our. Let me see if I can.
On our website where everybody, because we always council go through this transparency thing. So what I'm hearing you say, all that's in the backup, is it on the website?
Yes, sir. When I just found the directory to it. So it's under City of Cape Coral page. If you click on the government tab, go to city managers, there's a link there for fire service assessment.
Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Madam City Clerk, we already got a motion, right?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
No.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
No.
6 ayes, 2 nays, motion carried.
All right, let's move on to Resolution 224-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 224-26, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 non-ad valorem assessment roll for assessments imposed to fund lot mowing services, approving the assessment rates for such fiscal year and providing for collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Turn it over to staff.
Thank you. All right, this presentation concerns the lot mowing assessment and final resolution establishing the rate for next fiscal year. Again, Chapter 17 of the City Code provides a uniform process for imposing and annually administering assessments for essential services and capital improvements. The introductory resolution was approved July 22nd, which allowed us to notify the affected property owners, which we did the first week of August, and we're before you tonight for final resolution of those fees. The city's lot mowing program provides mowing, invasive vegetation removal, and burrowing owl nest trimming for unapproved lots voluntarily enrolled into the program. Approximately 31,000 parcels participate in the program across 4 districts. Lots are mowed 13 times annually, generally from February through December. Services also include removal of exotic and invasive vegetation and burrowing owl nest trimming from May through January. Our rates are calculated using an equivalent lot unit, or ELU, equal to 5,000 square feet. This approach applies the assessment proportionately based on the size of each lot. The program covers 4 districts within Cape Coral. Each district has its own assessment rate, reflecting the specific needs and characteristics of that area. The proposed current year, and as shown on the table, all districts will receive a modest increase in the rate per ELU, and that increase is attributed to overall increase in fuel surcharges and increase in personnel expenses for those employees working the program. For a standard parcel, this is 2 ELUs. The annual assessment rate they can expect range from $96.86 to $151.78, depending on the district. And with that, I ask for your approval.
Okay, thank you. I'll open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on Resolution 224-26, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing's now closed, and I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 224-26.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra. Lehman. Long.
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, move on to Resolution 225-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 225-26, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 non-ad valorem assessment roll for assessments imposed to collect certain delinquent water, wastewater, irrigation, fire service non-ad valorem special assessments, and capital expansion and contributions in aid of construction loans, approving the amounts and providing for the collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you. So the city offered a number of programs to its residents to assist with paying assessments and associated fees for various utility expansion projects over the years. And so a small number of these accounts have become delinquent and now need to be resolved. So this resolution formally establishes the assessment amounts for the delinquent parcels, authorizes collection through the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, and allows the charges to be placed on the tax bill. So Resolution 22526 serves as the rate resolution for the delinquent deferred assessments and the delinquent hardship deferrals. Right. And as the others, an introductory resolution was approved on July 22nd, authorizing us to notice these assessed property owners. So the first program under this resolution I'll start with is the deferred assessments. For certain UEP areas, the city offered property owners the option to defer assessment payments. Under the program, owners were allowed to place a voluntary lien for the full assessment, including principal and interest and administration fees. These deferred assessments became due and payable upon the sale of the property, refinancing of the home, or transfer of ownership. So for fiscal year 27, there is only one property with a deferred assessment account still outstanding. This property is in an assessment area that has reached the end of the assessment term. The total amount due to the city is approximately $59,000. So we are looking to add that assessment to the tax bill in an annual installment over the original term, which is 20 years. Delinquent balances plus the statutory discount and collector fees will be added to each installment, and the lien will be released upon full payment. So this is just another, more details of that one assessment that we're including. You'll see that the annual installment will be approximately $3,100. And when an assessment is deferred, just want to point out that the city actually pays the annual installment on behalf of the property owner. So most of this outstanding balance actually is going to be considered a reimbursement to the city. The next is the delinquent hardship assessment. The city's hardship program provides low-income property owners a means to defer all or part of certain UEP and fire service assessments each year based on HUD guidelines. To participate in the program, owners must apply annually, and all deferred amounts are recorded as liens against the property. The amount includes principal and interest, and like the deferred assessments, they become due upon sale, home transfer, or refinance. So under this category, we have 11 properties that have outstanding hardship assessments. 8 properties are no longer enrolled in the hardship program, possibly because they no longer qualify. And 3 properties have changed hands, but assessments were left unpaid at closing. The total amount here is $46,658.36. The amount of the assessment shall be equal to the total deferred amount due and owing as of November 1st, 2026, and the repayment term will match the remaining term of the original assessment. The fire service assessment balance will be billed over a term of 5 years and be added to the current annual fire service assessment, and no additional interest will accrue. And here are the details of those 11 parcels that will be included on the tax bill. It also provides you with their annual installment terms. And with that, I ask your approval.
Okay, thank you. I open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on Resolution 225-26, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed, and I'll entertain a motion regarding Resolution 225-26.
Motion to approve 225-26.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Paduk.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, move on to the last resolution, 226-26. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution 226-26, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Cape Coral, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 assessment rolls for various non-ad valorem assessments levied and imposed pursuant to Florida law and the City of Cape Coral Code of Ordinances, including Chapters 2, 17, and 19 thereof, and Ordinance 29-001 05, describing the lien associated therewith, directing that the assessment rolls be certified to the Lee County Tax Collector, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to staff.
All right, near the finish line. So this resolution formally approves the city's assessment rolls for our non-ad valorem assessments that will be collected on the upcoming property tax bill. The city has levied various non-ad valorem special assessments to fund capital improvement services that provide a specific benefit to certain real property within our established UEP areas. These assessments are governed by sections 166, 0.021 and 197.3632 of the Florida statutes, as well as chapters 2, 17, and 19 of the city's Code of Ordinances. And section 17-47 requires council to adopt an annual assessment resolution as part of the annual budget process. This action approves assessments for the upcoming fiscal year. So this slide here provides you a total of each of the roles related to their specific project areas, starting with South 1 East all the way through Del Prado Mall parking lot and all of the associated utility capital expansion fees and contribution in aid of construction fees associated with those assessment areas. So approval of the resolution authorizes the certified rolls to be transmitted for inclusion on the Lee County Tax Collector's property tax bills in November. And this is the final administrative action needed to collect those fees next fiscal year. And with that, I ask for your approval.
Okay, I now open up public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on resolution 226-26, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. And I'll entertain a motion regarding resolution 226-26.
Motion to approve.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Kilrain.
Aye.
Lastra.
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
No.
Steinke.
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter.
Aye.
Kaduk.
Aye.
7 ayes, 1 nay, motion carried.
Okay, we move on to item 11C is introductions. We do not have any introductions tonight. Item 12 is reports. Councilmember Steinke, report.
No report.
Councilmember Donnell. No report. Councilmember Kaduk.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know we talked about this a long time ago about Hayden Lane, and I'm going to make a motion, and I'm looking for a second, to request a future agenda item be scheduled to address the Sandoval application for a replat.
I'll give you the second.
Thank you.
Are we going to add that to a committee of the whole? Is that what you're
That would
asking?
be, yeah, if we could add as an agenda item, it could be committee of the whole would probably be best.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank
Will we
you.
have one next week? Are you,
Whenever.
is that good?
Next week is fine for
All
me.
right. All right.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk, if we could add that to the agenda.
For September 9th.
Yep.
That's
Or
the
next
next
one.
cal.
Yeah, whenever our next one is.
Thank you so much. That's all.
All right. Councilmember Kilrain.
On the 20th, I attended the St. Jude's lot ribbon cutting with Bonham Homes, and that's the first, I guess, in the state of Florida, and great project. And along with Councilman Lori Lehman, and CCCIA was there to represent a lot of other builders who are going to be participating in that. On Saturday, I went to the CCIA home show, and that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Laster.
Thank you, Mayor. I too attended the home show, but on Sunday it was a great event. Lots of vendors, lots of information. So thank you to the CCCIA for putting that on. I don't have any more on a report, Mayor, but I do have a question for all of you. I spoke to the city manager 2 weeks ago about moving the camera back onto the podium for citizens input. And the reason is because we end up with distractions here with, iPads and cell phones. And I just feel like if you guys are okay with it, could we possibly consider moving that camera back to the podium so that eliminates the distraction right here in front?
Is that something that maybe we could put on our next committee of the whole and have a discussion?
Do we need to? I mean,
Well, I think so.
you do? Okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. If I can get a second, or do I need a second? Got a second? Okay, that'd be good. Thank you, Mayor.
We'll add that on that same committee of the whole there, Madam City Clerk, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Lehman.
Yeah, I too attended the home show on Saturday. Met with a lot of different people. It was a great situation. Thank you, that's it.
Councilmember Long.
All right, going back to last year's. I don't recall. Did we need a cow to remove that?
I don't
Camera
recall.
view?
Did we?
It's not like a proper function of council. I don't remember making any action on behalf of council to take that away. So I don't know where that leaves us with regards to the discussion next week, but if that's a staff function, then we can just direct staff to do it, even though I don't remember doing that up here to change the camera angle. So I guess take from that what you will. That's your cause. Take it and run with it. Just one question with regards to the report with the hearing examiner. When can we expect, I guess, to move forward with, what's the process look like to hire the new hearing examiner? I guess the contract that we've had with the hearing examiner is terminated or will become terminated very soon. What does that look like moving forward?
Technically, when you approved the last hearing examiner as part of the authorization, she's allowed to sit for any quasi-judicial matters.
She's allowed to sit, but I mean, her contract is up, right? So wouldn't we either renew the contract or we would then?
The last special magistrate, the contract that you approved.
Sure.
Authorized that individual to sit for any and all matters that are quasi-judicial.
Okay, so if that was true, then what would the purpose have been to come and codify that before this council through the motion that's now failed twice in the last 2 weeks?
I'm sorry, what?
You're telling me that when we hired a new special magistrate in April, that effectively turned that replaced the hearing examiner?
No, that did not. That's not what I said.
Okay, so then help me.
What I said is they're authorized to sit for quasi-judicial matters.
Okay.
I didn't say to replace that, so that was incorrect.
Well, then the motion that was just brought up for reconsideration today, which was ruled upon and shot down last week, that was to have the position of the hearing examiner replaced with
That was an
a
amendment.
plethora of special magistrates.
That was an amendment to the Land Development Code regarding who would be sitting in that stead.
Can you explain how those two then are different? Because if I'm saying, you said it, you took offense, which I appreciate, to me categorizing it that way, but then when I then turned around and encapsulated what the nature of the motion that was up for reconsideration today was, it in effect was the same exact end result, was it not?
So
the motion was, as you just confirmed, was
today
to,
was a reconsideration of the denial of ordinance number 20-26.
which in short does what?
Which would have brought the matter back before you all as it
Not
was.
the matter itself. What was the matter itself regarding?
The matter itself was an amendment to the process associated with who'd be sitting and hearing these matters.
So if we chose not to amend the process, then logic would dictate that that means that the process as it currently exists would continue on. Is that not logical?
Going to.
Okay, well, if it is, and a hearing examiner sits over these meetings as they have for the last several years, and our hearing examiner's contract is up, I'm asking when we would put out a contract seeking a new hearing examiner.
There seems to be
There is, and I'm looking for
misunderstanding.
clarification on that.
If the council authorized the special magistrate to sit for all quasi-judicial matters pursuant to her contractual agreement with the city of Cape Coral, that would mean that they have legally the authority as authorized by you all to sit in that place.
Okay, that's great. So then why would we need to follow it up with the motion that you put forth to
Because the
amend?
motion was a correction of what was happening before, amongst other things, as we had discussed. It resolved the issue of the hearing examiner making a ruling and then it going to a special magistrate. But that apparently didn't seem to get any traction, despite my talking about that.
Mr. Mayor, can we put this on the cow for the next week so that it could be explained exactly how that was set forth? Because whether you want to agree or not, I'm fairly certain that a majority of this council did not understand that we were kicking out the hearing examiner and replacing it with a special magistrate when we hired a new special magistrate 4 months ago. And then again, just last week, we voted on a
Well,
decision.
why don't we go down the line and see if a majority wants to bring that topic back for
That's fine.
discussion? And then if it is, then we'll add it to it. You know, for me, we've already voted on this issue last week, it sounds like. I wasn't here.
Right, we voted in the negative to not allow for special magistrates to sit for quasi judicial hearings.
No, that is
That's
not
not
true.
I don't think that's true.
So what did we vote on?
Well, first of all, I don't even know. Why don't let's go down the line and see if we want to bring this up for a discussion for next week.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Your Honor, may I have one point of clarification before we go down the road?
Yep.
I just wonder, does anybody have any butter to go in my popcorn? Because I love when those two start going, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, honestly, you should be having these discussions, before you get here, before bringing it
We've
up in
had
the
these
report.
discussions.
I'm sorry?
That's why I'm confused. I've had these discussions.
Oh, okay. All right, Councilmember Donnell, we'll start down here with you. Do you want to bring this matter to a discussion at a future committee of the whole
No.
matter we've already voted on?
No.
I would.
No.
I'm a no.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't counting votes, so where are we
force.
at?
4-4.
All right.
Okay, so then moving forward, we will not be using a hearing examiner in the city of Cape Coral, yes or no?
I can, let me answer this to try and take legal
What's a yes or no
personnel out of
question
this.
based on?
My administrative staff is still going to be bringing cases to our hearing examiner under the exact same process that is in place today. You all did not vote to change the process. So my staff, when it pertains to a land use and development regulation, is going to follow the exact same process. This is not a personnel issue. I don't know why it's getting twisted into that. This was a procedural change on how my staff deals with land use development cases. You all voted that down. We're following the exact same process. I hope that clears it up.
So then what was last week when we were talking about carousels of magistrates and versus one single hearing examiner?
That was exactly the process that you brought up. So the process was meant to align with what is happening. So I believe, Councilmember Long, you're the one that made reference to or intimated that there was some nefarious activity in scheduling with certain special magistrates, which was false.
Okay.
Because these are scheduled 1 year in advance, and they're randomly selected based upon the availability of the special magistrates. But that was not what you ultimately brought forth or you asserted, which you asserted that there's going to be some nefarious activity in order to identify certain cases that will go before certain set of special magistrates.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
that there would open up to an appearance of impropriety if we were to allow that to
You
take place.
asserted that in a public meeting
Okay.
where there was none.
Okay.
So these are scheduled 1 year out in advance.
Sure.
On a pre-scheduled calendar.
Okay.
And all the special magistrates are asked for their availability to attend.
Okay.
But you intimated that there was some nefarious activity by staff in scheduling certain matters before certain special magistrates.
But we're not even doing that yet. So how would I have?
You brought that up.
Yeah, as an
And you just brought it up again on a carousel.
I think this.
What I did not assert, but you asserted, was that the special magistrate that we apparently hired to replace the hearing examiner, 4 months ago?
Mayor, point
was
of
from
order.
out of town.
Point of order. We're in
Said she lived in
reports.
Sanibel, but she actually lives in Miami, has a practice in Miami.
Hold on, we got a point of order. Could you tell us what the procedure is for point of order?
I need to know
What's the point of order?
We're in reports. This has nothing to do with reports. This had to do with an item that was then brought down the line for consensus of bringing it to to a meeting on an agenda where an issue like this is supposed to be dealt with. And that failed. So why are we continuing with it?
Councilmember Stankey's correct.
Okay. And do we need a second for the point of order?
No, you rule on that as the individual running the meeting.
I rule on it?
Yes.
I think this is an offline discussion where you two, because it's been a matter, it's already been voted on and discussed. We brought it here for a reconsideration. That failed. And then we even had a subsequent consensus where we didn't want to bring it to the committee of the whole. So if you two want to have that discussion, have at it. But having, in my opinion, having it now during a report and going back and forth, to me is ridiculous. So if that's something that you two want to discuss, have at it.
That's fine.
Understood. Thank you, Mayor.
Unless somebody else has their report.
Yeah, I don't have anything in my report. Mr. City Manager, report?
I do have a report.
I'm sorry, Mr. City Attorney
Usually
first.
Alex goes
I'm
first.
And you have a report? All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. This coming Saturday will be the second anniversary for the courts, August 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the courts at 420 Southwest 2nd Avenue. They're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers, drink specials, raffles for paddles, memberships. There's going to be some round robin events, and then there's going to be some demos from some paddles providers. So if you're interested in celebrating the second anniversary of the courts with the city, or if you play pickleball, join us there from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I do have two high five highlights that I want to read. I hadn't gotten a couple of these in a while. And then last week, I got a couple of them. I had one resident write in regarding city workers. Nice job. And it says, very nice job trenching for the drainage of my lawn. Super professional and thorough. And that goes to the stormwater folks that regraded a swale. It came with it a bunch of pictures, and they actually, he asked for them to pose for them. And so thank you for the recognition from the resident, and also thank you to the swale crews that performed that work professionally and thoroughly. Another one came in regarding the fire department. This one says regarding Station 12. Just wanted to pass along some info, and I hope you can pass this on to our city council about the fantastic department we are blessed with. They should know what a blessing you folks are to the community. I had issues with a muriatic acid leak around my pool supplies. Your team came to my house last week and helped neutralize it, but I still smelled something this week. Lieutenant McCarr and team were better than I could ever imagine. They checked every inch of my house, inside and outside, to find the source. They vented my entire home and didn't leave me until the VOC dropped. They explained a lot to me, respected my home, made every effort to protect my pets and also take care of me. When it was time to go, they even made sure I got back in the house okay. I am a disabled vet. They were so professional, kind, and patient. I've never met an entire group of pros like this, and since I was in the military. They work so well with the public and one another. God bless each and every one of you, to these fine firemen. So I want to thank the resident for pointing out the professionalism in our fire department. And I would like to respond to Lieutenant McCarr and his team from Station 12, who took care of a disabled vet to make sure that he was safe. Not only once they isolated the issue, but then also getting back into his home. Job well done. High five highlight.
Please don't make me gavel.
Do it. I double dog dare you. Gavel, gavel. Just kidding.
Yeah. Is that it, Mr. City Manager?
That is it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 14, time and place of future meetings, the regular meeting of this. No, he said, no, I didn't. Yep, that's what he said. Is it still no report, Mr. City Attorney?
Still
Okay,
no report.
all right, great.
I mean, I can give you one if you want.
All right. So can I go on to 14 now? Okay, thank you. So now time and place of future meetings. Regular meeting of the Cape Coral City Council is scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2026, beginning at 4 p.m. in council chambers. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, so moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.